Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. Once again, like the previous Game of Thrones recap, but not only do we have a Game of Thrones recap for the season, where people hate the season, obviously, because that's what the internet says, but myself, Tommy G, and Tim Andacust are going to weigh in on all of it. Plus, we get to the best movies of the millennium a little bit later on, too. So if you want to hit the description to find the time codes, if you don't give a shit about Game of Thrones and you want to jump to that, you can just go jump to that. It's a fun show. It's a long show. If you want to get into a draw for 20 DK bucks, although there is no video for this, but if you are watching on YouTube, smash the like button, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me who you would have liked to see win Game of Thrones, sit on the Iron Throne. At the end, you'll be in a draw for 20 DK bucks, just like you will if you rate, review, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience on iTunes, leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle, and something nice about the show. Do that for the No Mercy pod as well, because this is a crossover. Me, Tommy, Cuss, talking Game of Thrones and the best movies of the past 20 years. Enjoy.
The Pat Mayo Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Experience.
What up? Let's get weird. It's your boy Tommy G here with episode 62 of the No Mercy podcast and episode I don't know what of the Pat Mayo Experience, because with Game of Thrones wrapping up, I got to bring my boy back on. Pat Mayo joining us, Game of Thrones wrap up, and I hear you have a special guest who I'm going to let you announce.
Yeah, so I figured it was time for us to get back in. I've been trying to avoid coming on the past few weeks. I've been busy, you know me.
Thanks, Pat.
I'm always doing stuff, but I wanted to make sure that I was here so we could wrap everything up. We hit the big episode after episode 3, and I at the time, I just kind of preached every time that we talked, like, let's see how it wraps up, and then we'll make our judgments. And, I mean, I probably just should have stopped watching at some point, but, you know, that's me. But when you say episodes of the Pat Mayo Experience, I think we're at... I mean, over the past 2 years since I went to DraftKings, I think this is episode like 1068 or something like that. Overall, Jesus. Episode like 2700. So, you know, the Pat Mayo Experience, we're always pumping out hot garbage every single day. If you need stuff to be like mad about, I got like an hour of stuff for you to be mad about. Terrible gambling picks, bad pop culture stuff. It's all there. But if I need to delve into like the worst of pop culture, there's always one man that I bring on. He'll be joining us. His name is Tim Andacust.
Tim Andacust.
That is not my name.
Heard it was. Tommy, did you hear
No.
it was?
They'll often call me Tim, Breaker of Chains, Tamer of Dragons, King
Mother-
of the Grass Sea. Those are the usual names I get called.
Mother of bad takes. Yeah, I actually thought your name was Andacust for about a year and a half, Tim.
Great.
Yeah. So I think everyone else does too, right, Pat?
I think so. I mean, it is his name. That's how people know him. So that's really it.
I'm just excited to finally be on with Tim Andacust.
Tim Andacust.
Just because I get that stuck in my head every time Mayo says it, and I'll be walking around my house, Mayo, just going, Tim Andacust, like by myself with no one around.
Do you start jamming out to the theme music?
I do. I do. The theme music is my favorite part. I have we need a remix. We need a house music remix.
Well, I don't know.
I can play at the clubs.
I mean, I don't think that Tim's going to be like constantly on EDM, so I don't know if we do need like a house remix of this.
I just can't wait to get Tim's takes on anything. Like, I want this to be like 9 hours long and just bombard him with weird questions that like he's never been asked before. But this is going to be definitely an interesting mix here. So I guess we get right to it. So, Pat, I want to start with you for a second, because when we were on last time, we did No Mercy, Pat Mayo Experience, joint combo, gangbang podcast a few weeks ago. And I was bitching like crazy, just losing my mind over what was going on. And you kept saying, we still got 3 more episodes. Give it some time. Don't judge it yet. You kind of hinted at it a minute ago. And I kept telling you these writers are dumb. They're just going to fuck it up worse. And I am now more convinced on my stance from 3 episodes ago. Have you come over to the dark side after these last few episodes and given up that wait and see approach?
Yeah, well, I got to give up the wait and see approach now because it's over. So,
well, there's still all these cliffhangers. There's still 19 things. Now we got to wait for the sequel.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the funny thing about it is no matter how many people were disappointed and left disappointed by this season, if in 3 years' time they're just like, hey, Game of Thrones is back. We got Tyrion. We'll check in what's going on. Like, everyone is lining up immediately to see what's going on. Like, the funny thing about all the outrage about this final season is no one stopped watching it everyone just started hate watching it. Like it was.
The ratings got bad. Ratings got pretty bad.
We don't know what the ratings are. HBO only releases the ratings. Like the third episode was like the highest rated cable show, like single viewing of all time. It had like 20 million viewers, which is absolutely outrageous. And it didn't really matter what that was kind of the part of it too. Like it didn't really matter to HBO what like the week to week ratings were, because all they cared about were the people that signed up for HBO right before the season started, because that's where they make all their money from. So to them, they were like, fuck it, let's go. I would give, if we had to grade the season, I'd give it a C-. I thought there were like the story elements were just stupid at some point. Like when they said it was only going to be 6 episodes, they really should have brought on like a British showrunner that exclusively deals in these like 3, 4, 5, 6 episode arcs, and they can actually tie things together. They were just left with so much story for 6 episodes that they didn't even give one of the plot lines its due. They just tried to tackle everything, wrap everything up quickly, and then just left everyone completely dissatisfied. There was no character growth, really. It was just like, hey, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. The only thing that like really stood out to me from the season as being incredibly good, and Tim said that the third episode is a complete waste of time, and I thought it was like edge of your seat what's going on, mainly because it was hard to tell what was going on the entire time. But that episode, I thought episode 2 was actually really good. Now that I kind of go back and think about it, it was probably by far the best of the season. But that action sequence, like they made all this hype about the longest action sequence ever, the Battle of Winterfell. The destroying the city with the dragon was like top tier, high level movie filmmaking. It was incredible. Like it was kind of nonsensical, and the story itself was bad around it, but like the visuals from that episode were absolutely fucking incredible. Like that's where the money went. That's where all the time went. And when they should have been assessing the story and trying to figure out decent ways to wrap things up, it felt like it was half fan service of like, oh yeah, Sam writes the book at the end, and like Jon kills Dany. Like, yeah, we could have got to that in a better place, but there were movie making elements that were really big on this, and I think that goes hand in hand with the 2 showrunners going off to do the Star Wars movie. That this is where their interest lies now. That these big, huge set pieces, and before in Game of Thrones we had these set pieces, but they'd be once a season, so you'd have this lead up to it that was a huge build, and everyone would get excited for these huge set piece episodes, but then there would be the proper fallout from it too, the reaction to what happened. And that's the part that was just missing over this season, was what was the actual fallout of this stuff. It doesn't take 10 minutes to do that. It used to take not only one episode to wrap up what was going on, but it would lead into the next season, and it was still impacting people and setting people on their own journeys. So that's the part. It just felt so convoluted, and it wrapped itself up so quickly. I don't really know what you do with the final episode. You probably come up with a better ending, but
do more than that.
The ending of it really reminded me of like the final Lord of the Rings, where you kind of have to give an epilogue to the story, and they decided to do that with like the final 40 minutes of the episode, which I thought was strange too.
Everything was strange. Timmy, what was your take?
Well, I mean, I guess I have a few takes.
Go nuts.
Well, I mean, it's different than the end of the Lord of the Rings, because at least the Lord of the Rings was a fleshed out story. Where do we begin here? I mean, there's little things that are problems, like how are there Dothraki hanging around King's Landing? They were
and so many
3 episodes, and did some of them just like hang out somewhere else during the battle for Winterfell? That just doesn't make any sense. I guess they needed to have them there so she could speak Dothraki one last time. I have no idea. I was annoyed that in the end, Bran as a Raven in episode 3 didn't pay off at all. With him, I remember
zero
around. Everyone's like, "Oh, don't worry, that will pay off." They wouldn't show us that. It's Chekhov's gun. Yeah, it didn't pay off. It was a complete waste of time, as was most of his character. I mean, in the end, he became tangentially relevant to the story. And in the end, they let him be king. Okay. But the kingdom he comes from immediately secedes from the kingdom.
The only people to turn down his rule were the people he was related to.
And the reason that kingdom secedes is because they will not bend their knee to the South, which would be run by a Stark king. The whole logic of it is shot through with more holes than Swiss cheese. That is a Gordian knot you can't untie. You can't defend that. It just makes no sense. So that part is foolish. The Dany story cashed out. That was fine with me. They spent 8 seasons with her teaching us that she was like a liberator of men, that it was her job, that she was wound up with so much zeal that she wouldn't be stopped. She's like Alexander the Great crossed with Julius Caesar, crossed with like Woodrow Wilson all in one. And in the end, she met her fate, right? She met the fate of all people throughout history that are great leaders who want to like liberate the whole world. That eventually they're taken down by their blind ambition, right? She had that the best scene in last night's episode was one with her and John, where she said, like, they don't get to choose what's right or wrong. We get to choose what's right or wrong. Like, those words could have come out of Julius Caesar's mouth or Napoleon's mouth, and well meant. Like, they thought they were doing what was right for the world. And so I think that whole storyline cashed out. The John storyline basically cashed out.
Oh, no.
He was a misfit everywhere he went. He wasn't an interesting character, so his ending in the end shouldn't have been all that interesting. He just goes to live up north. I mean, that was tattooed to us 4 episodes ago, whenever it was, when they sent the wolf up north.
How can you say the John story? I don't even know if I can let you finish this thought.
Okay.
How could you say the John storyline, of all the storylines in the show, I agree with you that Bran didn't cash out at all. Like literally is the only person in the show outside of maybe Arya who has fucking superpowers and didn't use them. We went through episodes where Bran was talking about, well, I can warg into like a raven, but Hodor's too big. I don't have that kind of power yet. You think you're setting up for his strength going like Luke in Star Wars, where eventually he'll be able to warg into a dragon and do something with that. We never got that payoff. He says, maybe I could see where the dragon's going, and doesn't check to see where the dragon's going to let us know. So I guess in the sequel, we'll find that out. So I'm with you on Bran. What part of John paid off? His whole mission, the whole show, was to kill the Night King. And all he did in his battle to the Night King was fall off a dragon, fall down, scream at a dragon, and basically get saved by a girl who had no intention of killing the Night King. Then he was a Targaryen, which he thought he was the rightful heir to the throne. That never paid off because no one even found out about it. He didn't even need to be a Targaryen to kill Dany, because he could have just killed her as Jon Snow. So the Targaryen thing didn't pay off. Then we thought he was going to be king because he's, led the North and led the Wall and led all this. And he basically got banished. His own brother turned on him, sent him home. The only thing that paid off was him reuniting with Tormund and his dog. And honestly, the wolf should have never left, and Tormund should have been there to fight Cersei. So even that was ridiculous because he was on the Wall 6 years ago and he just went back to where he was. So I don't see where a single payoff in John was.
Unless you believe, as I do, that Jon Snow's character is actually just about human reticence and about unfulfilled opportunities and unfulfilled potential. That has been Jon Snow from the beginning. He has always fallen short of somebody who could be someone. He's someone who's a lump of clay, which could be molded into something great, and at every turn has failed. And in the end, is reticently going up north to be away from the world. I mean, in some ways, he's not an anti-hero, but he's not a hero either. He's like Cincinnatus picking up his plow after he saved Rome. Like, there's something about him that just makes you want to shrug your shoulders. So in that sense, I thought it was true to who he was. He was someone who was never going to fulfill the hopes and dreams some of us had wished upon him.
But wouldn't it have been better, you think, Timmy, if they had John volunteer himself to go up north? Like, I would have rather had that, where John comes down with Tyrion, because we know John kind of wants to be up there, right? Like you said. So I think it would have been better payoff if they said, John, we're going to free you. And he said, no, you know what? I betrayed my queen. Grey Worm's right. I'm going to send myself up to the Wall and go up that way. I thought that's at least a little better payoff for me than
maybe that's right, and that would have shown character growth, because John throughout his whole life has never been.
That's the honor thing.
Like, John didn't choose to be Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He was elected sort of against his will. He didn't choose to be the person who had to lead people against the Night King. He was sort of forced into it. He didn't choose to be a Targaryen. Like, John has sort of
leader of the North
on him, but the fact that he didn't have character growth, I guess, underscores that sort of human inability sometimes to grow. Like, someone tweeted last night, what is the nature of this whole show in one tweet? And I tweeted that in the end, no matter how hard you try, the wheel will break you. You can't break the wheel. That's what this story was about.
So I want to throw out, what if so the reason that I always said that give it to the end of the season is if it had like a really kick-ass ending that people really got on board with, people would have revisionist history about the entire season. That
I'm just kind of shocked you still had confidence in them, though.
I mean, I just wanted to see
I agree with you.
I just wanted to see how it played out. Because I read this, because I thought something was coming. Because I read, someone had, like, it filtered through my timeline, and I read it. I was like, this would be a really good ending if it happened. That we were so convinced at the end of the last episode, Dany goes mad. Everyone's like, oh my God, we need to kill Dany. What if it turned out that when Bran was marked by the Night King, that he was slowly actually turning back into the new Night King, and it was him that took over the dragon that went and fucking wiped everyone out. And then they had to go deal with Bran. I think that would have been the better ending.
That would have
100%.
required creative storytelling.
Exactly. Like let's do this for a second then. So first Mayo, give me your take on the kind of little mini debate here between me and Timmy, where did John actually pay off his storyline?
I don't think it was a full payoff. I'd say he got about 80% of the way there. I'm with you. Like the whole him being a Targaryen really didn't fucking mean anything.
Didn't matter.
Like it was.
He could have done everything the same by being Jon Snow.
Yeah, and then you just don't have that. And that's sort of the thing. Like you had all these plot lines that needed to get resolved, and then instead of actually resolving any of them, they just 20% tried to resolve some of them, which just makes people pissed off. Like you'd be better off not even just talking about it ever again. And if you know that you only have these 6 episodes, they built up the Night King to be this big bad, but then you get rid of him in episode 3. So you're like, oh, it's got to be Cersei. But then you get rid of Cersei in 20 seconds. So it felt like they should have picked their spots better. Like if they had known they had 12 episodes left at the beginning, how long was season 7? Was that 6 or 8 episodes?
7 and 6, I believe they were. Yeah.
So you have 13 episodes left, and you know that's all you have left. You need to start plotting it a little bit better. Like what actually matters here, what doesn't matter, and maybe don't make the Night King. Maybe end last season with the fight with the Night King, and then you have these 6 episodes to dedicate to the fight between them, or go the opposite way. Have them kill off Cersei at the end of season 7, and then you're actually fighting with the Night King for who survives and who doesn't survive. But I guess from the last episode, I kind of like the Tyrion stuff.
That was trash.
Everything. I
just thought that despite his character being written into the ground, I thought that Dinklage was still really good the entire season.
Dinklage definitely didn't like the way his character was written. If you see some of his comments, online.
but he still that's the one thing. Even if you have bad material and you have actors to elevate it, it felt like no matter how foolish some of the Tyrion stuff was, he was always so good at it that it made those scenes seem very bearable.
I think you could have had Tyrion read the phone book, and it would have been interesting because he's such a good actor, Dinklage. But I said it. I don't know if it was with you or with Pizzola, and then Tim, I'll kick to you about this because I think you have a similar opinion. I think they completely fucked up Littlefinger and Tyrion's characters, completely fucking mangled 2 of the 4 best characters, arguably the 2 best characters in the history of the show, and just wrote them into shit. I think the characters were too complex and in depth for these idiot writers, and I don't think they even knew what to do with them. So they just kind of pivoted and fucking buried them. So Tim.
I mean, I do agree that they mishandled both Littlefinger's character and Tyrion's. I think we can lay those cards on the table, that they advanced the ball so far down the rugby field, but then they just got stopped short of the line.
Rugby analogies are fantastic ones to use.
Get it in, right? You could move it. They didn't get it. They didn't get it where they needed to be. Tyrion's story. I mean, it starts yesterday with him peeling off 1 layer of bricks to unveil.
Oh, dude, I thought I was the only one, Tim.
Dead Lannister.
I thought it was the only one. Oh my God. I can't believe you just said, dude, I've talked to 10 people about this show today, Tim. And I said, does anyone else have a fucking problem with the fact that there was fucking 6 bricks on top of Cersei and Jaime? And everyone was like, oh, now you're nitpicking. I'm like, dude, there was 6 bricks. You could have done the same thing with a pile of bricks and just kind of fast forwarded the process. One scene he's picking off a couple and then he's tired and sweating a second later and all the bricks are gone. There's 6 bricks. They got hit in the head. I got hit in the head with a fucking tire iron and I stood up 3 seconds later. How much worse could a brick be?
All you needed was the hand coming out of the brick.
Yeah.
All you needed.
Thank you.
But instead they chose to take the cheap route and give us that shot of Jaime and Cersei back in the womb holding on to each other again. Because they had to bash us over the head with symbolism because we're not smart enough to get it.
We didn't get it. Exactly. We didn't get it the first time.
Cheap. And then everything he did in last night's episode, unfortunately, was terrible. If we're being real to form, Grey Worm would have run him through immediately upon Dany saying, take hold of him. Dany doesn't keep prisoners. She wouldn't have kept him in a cell for days on end. That is not believable. He would have been killed immediately. Then he is allowed to give a very boilerplate, sort of unconvincing speech to the Lords of Westeros to convince them to elect a king because he wants them to. I mean, watching that, unless the Lords of Westeros are all very, very dull and very gullible, there was no reason to be convinced by that sort of lackluster speech. To choose Bran the Broken, he's really talking up his candidate by calling him the Broken, right? Let's vote for this guy to be the. I just found the whole thing to be foolish. Oh, who's got a better story? Well, Bran's story is not better than Tyrion's story.
Or Sansa's story. Sansa's story is better than Bran's story. And by the way, Tim, my last tweet from last night before I shut it down was just to kind of tell the people who weren't watching and didn't understand Game of Thrones, the prisoner who is being sentenced to death has chosen the new ruler of Westeros while on death row. Like that right there just sums up the whole Tyrion.
And Grey Worm is fine with it.
He's good with it. Yeah.
I guess you do get to choose a king for some
Well,
reason.
if you guys all voted, then fuck it. Like, I guess that's what we have to do.
Well, if that was going to be the thing, like if Grey Worm wasn't going to kill Tyrion and we like acquiesce to him going out and speaking on behalf of the lords and trying to convince them, like why did Jon have to go to the wall?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. Like Jon should have volunteered himself to the wall.
Why didn't we get the scene where Grey it's just like, yeah, we have Jon as a prisoner. Isn't there something they could have filled in there? Like,
Dude,
someone coming up on finding Jon stabbing Dany?
These guys are so anti-capture. It is insane. We didn't get to see how Missandei got captured. We didn't get to see how Jaime got captured when he tried to escape and they recaptured him. We didn't get to see how Jon Snow got captured. Like, dude, Drogon burnt the shit out of everything and took Dany away, right? First of all, I'll talk later about how she should have become the Night Queen to end the episode or something. But takes her away. Like, in all reality, Jon could have been like, all right, she's fucking gone, and walked around. And then when Grey Worm comes in and goes, where is my queen? He could be like, I don't know. I haven't fucking seen her. Like, no one knows. Like, she's gone. I don't know. I didn't fucking see her. I don't know. What happened to Dany? She left. I don't know. Dragon burned some shit. I wasn't there. But the reality of it is, if you got to assume, like we're still assuming on the last episode of the season, we're assuming that Jon turned himself in to, I assume, Grey Worm. Grey Worm would have killed him on the spot.
Absolutely right.
Like the Tyrion thing, I get it because Dany was still alive, during a lot of that part, right? Like when Dany actually sentenced Tyrion to be put into chains. So Grey Worm's not going to do some shit unless Dany says it. Dany probably would have killed him, but her relationship with Tyrion may have caused her to say, you're going to be a prisoner until I figure this shit out. So I can kind of buy that. But once Dany's gone and Jon's roaming around, the Unsullied are just murking his ass. There's no way he's in a prison.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it better. I completely agree. I guess the thing is, like, if you had told me, because what apparently happened was that Jar Jar, I guess we have to call him now instead of George R.R., he's just Jar Jar because it's been bad. He gave him sort of like the outline of how this all ends. And obviously there just wasn't enough time to flesh out many of this stuff. I'm curious to see not that I read the books. I can't read, so that's just lost on me.
Forget
but
that.
If this is how the books actually end, and there's like two more books dedicated to this, and like these are the like Bran ends up king, which is completely plausible, I guess, in terms of how the books work, that if there's a way that he's fleshed it out that is somewhat along sort of like the same end points and sort of the same middle points, it's that stuff in the middle that we all missed. Like, it seems like gaping plot holes and stuff like that because there was no filler in between. If you got that filler in terms of like long form storytelling, I wonder if we'd feel differently about how this ended up. We're just mad because nothing was explained, and a lot of the stuff seems super out of character.
And this is it. And Tim, I want your take on this too, because I think you just nailed it, Pat, in that, in a nutshell, if you would have told me 2 years ago, right, Tommy, there's 5 more seasons left of Game of Thrones. All right, after season 5, there's 5 more seasons left. And how it's going to end is Jon's going to do some big shit, have some big payoffs, and then he's going to end up back in the north with Tormund and Ghost. I'd have been like, okay, I could see that. Arya's going to do some big shit, get some big payoffs, and she's just going to disappear and go be an assassin somewhere else.
No,
I could see that.
She is now Christopher Columbus.
Right. Sansa's going to end up ruling the north. I could see that. Bran's going to end up being the king. Well, you're going to have to do some serious shit to sell me on that, but at least it's a Stark. Like, Dany's going to die and Drogon's going to carry her up. What happened to the characters at the end isn't the issue. It's like you said, Pat, it's that it didn't make sense. There was no leading up to it. There was no proper storyline. There was too many plot holes to get to that ending. So if you took 5 seasons, I believe RR could write the same ending and fix it and make it incredible. This was just a fucking cop-out, Tim.
Well, that ending's never going to be written because those books are never going to be written.
Well, I mean,
so.
that's it, though. I mean, that just sounds like an Ender curse in the making right there. They're going to, like, drop tomorrow on Amazon.
He's probably already written them.
Those books will never be written. I agree with what was said, but Like that is the problem, right? It was unnecessarily rushed. It didn't have to be finished in 13 episodes.
Well, it did.
There's no actual defense.
It did have to be finished in
No,
13
it didn't.
episodes.
HBO
Yes, it
said
did.
take as long as you
Yeah,
want.
and they did, and they were like, we don't want to fucking do this anymore. The actors.
So why didn't they get rid of it?
Hold on,
but it's not just about the showrunners not wanting to do it. The actors didn't want to fucking do it anymore.
Anyone who believes that is a fool.
What are you talking about?
Because this show made the careers of every single person
and
in
the
it,
career and the
they
careers
will
are
never-
made. They're all rich as fuck now. Now they all want to go do other things. You know what they don't want to do? Spend 90, like not even 90. I think they spent like 320 days filming last year. They just don't want to do it anymore.
No one, not a single one of them will ever do anything that approximates as big as this. No one, they will never. The first line in all of their obituaries will be that they were in this.
Sure,
The idea that
and
they
being on it longer is not going to change that.
Well, it does. If this is your magnum opus and you decide, oh, we're just going to short circuit the ending because we're tired of this and therefore vitiate and ruin the last part of the show because we just want to get it done, that is indefensible. That is sloth. That is not saying, oh, I wanted to do other stuff. I wanted to go make Star Wars. Like, that's crazy. If that's your reasoning, that is bad. That is not a defense of making things going faster. That's just...
There's no defense for it to make it faster. I'm just telling you that's what fucking happened.
Well, I don't dispute that that's what happened.
And listen, maybe you do this. Maybe you do the same thing for 10 straight years every single day, and you just get fucking sick of it. That's what happened with a lot of these people.
What a hardship it must have been.
I mean, you do something every day for 10 years, and you tell me how fucking much you enjoy it after.
If you're going to pay me as much money,
they
as
already
HBO
got paid. They're all multimillionaires.
Yeah, again,
they cashed out. You're just
Cersei got $1 million an episode to stand in a window.
Yeah, she would have gotten $1 million more.
I know. Like, there's no better job than Cersei had like 9 speaking lines the whole season, and she made $8 million.
I don't buy it's about money. I don't buy it's about boredom. Like, they can say like that could have been their reasons, but those are really bad reasons. And that if those are their reasons, and it resulted in the end of their magnum opus becoming worse because of it, a pox on all of them.
Well, I'm sorry you're too triggered.
I kind of agree with him there.
Listen,
Pat.
you think that people who don't want to do anything anymore, they just don't want to do it. And as a large group of them don't want to do it, you're telling them they have to do it. They don't want to fucking do it anymore. Yeah, you are. You're basically saying they have to do it because they've ruined this thing.
But
you know what? They don't give a shit. They got paid.
Well, again, most people don't think that way.
Tommy, do people think that way?
I will say, I'm side with both of you here on different points. I do feel, because you got to remember, these people, this was the beginning of most of their careers, right? Like most of these actors, we didn't know who the fuck they were before Game of Thrones. So obviously being actors and being of the creative mind and of the creative profession, they want to expand their reach. They don't want to be typecast. You know, they might already feel that after 5 seasons, I'm typecast and I can't go get a leading role in another movie, you know, outside Emilia Clarke and maybe Kit Harington or one other. But so I do see that side of it. But the point I agree with Tim is I don't give a fuck. Like, I have a right to hate you and troll you for fucking up my show. Because if you are going to do what Kevin Durant did to the Oklahoma City Thunder and just bounce and go to the next more profitable team like the Warriors, then yeah, Oklahoma City fans have a right to be like, fuck you. Just like Game of Thrones fans have a right to be like, fuck you. You mailed in our show. Like and the whole thing you guys were talking about season 7, I think I was alone on a mountaintop by myself screaming this. I actually quoted some tweets from last year and from earlier this year where I was saying that season 7 was the worst season of Game of Thrones by far, and it's not close. And everyone was like attacking me for it because the answer last year was it's a setup for season 8. And I was like, no, it's just bad because now they're going to have to rush season 8 because I agree with what you said. So I thought season 7 was dog shit. And I thought if they would have spent 7 and 8, the last 13 episodes, tying up all the shit they needed to tie up in this season, we would have had a much better show. No one would have been mad. They could have gone and done Star Wars. Everything would have worked out fine. But I thought season 7 was the core of the problem because there was way too much wasted time, way too much action, shoot 'em up, bang, bang stuff in season 7 when we really needed to tie up storylines last season.
So 2 things on that. One, I'm with you. People can be as mad as they fucking want. Like I don't really care about that. I'm just telling you that if it was me working as part of the show, I got paid out. And I think a lot of this had to do with like Rob Stark too, that when he gets killed off and like you don't see like many people pop up in other things. Like you have supporting roles, and even like Amelia Clark ends up starring in a movie. Kit Harington, even before like they get into the very hard shooting schedule, does that thing with like Andy Samberg in the tennis comedy movie, which is quite funny. But then all of a sudden you see Rob Stark. He's starring on like British TV shows. He's winning Golden Globes. He's in one of the biggest TV shows of last year, and the other guys are sitting around like, fuck, I could be doing other things too.
I'm still Khaleesi.
Yeah,
I wish I was in a show that was not as successful as the one I'm on. I don't know that people think that way.
You don't really know how. You really don't know how an
Yeah,
artist. You don't.
Man, I wish I was on a shorter mountain.
No, you see, you don't seem to understand that whatsoever, do you? You don't understand the creative process like that.
No.
No, I mean it's very clear that you don't. So
I think that's crazy.
That's not crazy. That's how most artistic people want to just evolve throughout their career. They see different opportunities.
They're young. They'll have that chance 2 years from now.
Oh,
in Pat's defense, it's also a matter of I'm a piece of the wheel of this show.
Now
right?
I can be
I'm
the
just
guy.
one of the 40 characters on this show that makes it great. Or I can go do my own show and star in it and be LeBron James in Cleveland years ago when he had no supporting cast and did it. So I mean,
but none of them are that good.
do you want to be Allen Iverson or do you want to be Klay Thompson, right? When Iverson took nobody to the championship and got all the accolades. So I could see Pat's point, how they'd want to be in their own spotlight.
So the other thing too is like, I mean, like I said, people are very, very much people love the show so much. They feel an ownership over the show and they're like very, very upset about it. And you can be mad online all you want, but I see people like even piling up in the mentions that we get. People are like, this ruined my night. If honest to God, a TV show is actually ruining your night, you should not be watching TV. You need to figure out your fucking life.
Bro, they have therapists. Did either of you get tagged on the thing that there's like a therapy hotline for people who are upset about Game of Thrones?
No.
Like that.
Oh, I gotta go find it.
That
Like it's millennial shit.
Yeah, I say that is the epitome of soft culture. Like, get over
Right.
it. It's a fucking TV show. You move along with your day. It sucked. You didn't like it. Fine. Then you can it's a TV show. Move on. Find another TV show to watch.
Go watch Barry. That's a great show.
I mean, Veep just ended too. Tim, did you watch the end of Veep?
Yeah, Veep's final season was like the perfect way that you do a final season.
Yeah,
it was the best final season in television history.
Veep, I would say 6 Feet Under's final season was the best, but that's me. Veep's final season was excellent. The last episode in general was just awesome.
Amazing, because it was just like a regular episode until like the very last.
That's the best way to do it. The best way to do it is just make it a regular episode.
And that's what made it so great.
Yeah. Don't try to go over the top. Don't try to do too much.
The last 5 minutes they put a capstone on the series.
Right,
but
exactly.
It was just a regular episode. It was hilarious. They played to their character strengths this season. They were gut-bustingly funny. It was kind of funny that you had on HBO two really Veep's not a big show, but two shows that
It's a pretty big show.
Two shows that they push, and one that's super super popular that people love that is letting their viewers down bit by bit. Another one that's just cranking out the hits.
Well, it's also like the expectations one versus the other are like
I don't know.
There's no pressure on Veep to be good because
I
it's
don't
just
think
always
so.
I would say that we talk about this like in golf all the time. Like you match up like at the PGA Championship, you match up Brooks and Harold Varner in the final group. Harold Varner's never played in the final group before. He's going to go shoot 82 while Brooks cruises to a win. If you ratchet up the pressure on anyone, like some people are just apt to crumble, and these guys crumbled in the final
But here, the other side of it is Game of Thrones had do you know how hard I looked at them like the Warriors, right? Like they did such a great job for 6 years. 7th year was like, all right, everyone else thought it was fine. I didn't. I was sliding off the bandwagon last year. I felt like I was on an island. Now I feel like I'm like this pioneer, like, haha, motherfuckers, told you. But like, I just felt like it was so hard to fuck this up. If you would have it's almost like if you said
1995 Braves, they only won one World Series. They should have won about 6.
It was basically like, dude, it's like you have this perfect lineup, Pat, in a late swap culture on DraftKings, right? And you're in first place and everything's going perfect and you're in a baseball tournament and you have Clayton Kershaw as your pitcher left and you go, you know what? Instead of playing chalk here and just locking in the win, let me get contrarian here and try and start the pitcher against Kershaw. And then he gets blown up and you lose. Like you literally, if they wanted to mail it in, we all would have been fine with Jon killing the Night King, Arya killing Cersei, probably wearing Jaime's face, put Sansa on the throne because she's been thrown around a lot, do something weird with Bran, and we're good. Like you literally could. It was so good for so long all you needed to do was just play chalk in the last season, and we all would have been like, all right, you know what? There really weren't that many surprises, but we got the brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes thing. That paid off. Jon killed the Night King. That paid off. This paid off. That paid off. Jaime died. Cersei died. Dany died. It was so easy to not fuck it up.
But then
they fucked it up.
But then you would get, I mean, if that's actually what happened, then you would just get accused of, oh, this is exactly what we thought was going to happen.
But that's fine.
Then you
look at Breaking Bad. Look at Breaking Bad.
See,
you don't hear a lot of people.
Yeah, but I have problems with the end of Breaking Bad.
You do, but you're a
Breaking Bad
cinema critic.
Breaking Bad should have ended with that episode of him up north in Vermont. That should have been the fucking end of the episode.
Right, but guess what?
Series. But instead, they had to come back. They had to come back and make sure everyone felt good about it.
But Pat, 99 out of 100 people, including me, didn't have an extreme problem with the ending of Breaking Bad.
It was
you
fine.
did because you're very critical of shows, right? You're in that you and Anna Custer in that 1%.
I felt like it ended properly, and then there was 2 more episodes. Like that should have been
I agree.
The sad
ending
what? It should have had.
You're not hearing anyone put Breaking Bad on the Sopranos, Lost, Game of Thrones, fucked up, but Dexter, fucked up ending list. It'll never be on that list.
I wouldn't.
And when you're already the best show ever, just avoid that list.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Game of Thrones wasn't going, even if it had, it would have had to have a very spectacular final season to actually, it's a very in the moment thing to say that it's one of the best shows of all time. It's one of the best shows of its type all time. But when you start talking about it like in a Sopranos mix, in the Wire mix, I mean, I think the Mad Men's probably still the best show.
I told you Deadwood is better than this show. It is.
Yeah, you do. And listen, you turned out to be right. Deadwood is, and Deadwood's coming back too.
Deadwood's really good.
Which is, I don't know, that's dicey coming back this after this amount of time. But it reminded me a lot of, and it turned out to be exactly the same of what happened to Lost. Like Lost was a fantastic show, and then it just got sewered at the end, and that's what happened to Game of Thrones. And
okay, hold on.
And a lot of it had to do, and a lot
was about 1,000 times better than whatever the hell Lost put out for the last season. Lost was indefensible crap for the last season. There wasn't a good scene in there. And actually was that's frustrating to even hear. Lost ruined
Get angry,
that
Tim.
show. So bad that if someone asked me, and have in the past, should I watch Lost start to finish? I tell them, no, don't waste your time. You will be frustrated. You will hate how it ends. If someone asked me today, should I watch Game of Thrones start to finish? I would certainly recommend it.
I think you should just go watch both of them because I've done a Lost rewatch over the past. Probably watched about 6 months ago. My wife hadn't seen it, so we went back and watched it.
I've never seen it.
I even told her after we got through season 5, I was like, we can just stop now if you want. Like that's enough. And then she's like, no, we should probably end this. I was like, all right, let's go for it.
Like the time I watched Twin Peaks with you, and we skipped like 6 episodes and end season 2 because you're like, you don't need to see this.
Well, you didn't need to see.
I mean,
but that was.
But
that was also that element of Twin Peaks in season 2 is one of the most unique elements of any TV show of all time because everyone who did the show left the show for 7 episodes, quit, and then they came back to write the end because they were like, "This sucks."
The thing about Game of Thrones, I'm gonna have to do a rewatch now. I do have people and friends of mine who've binged it, right? Who just started binging it a month and a half ago,
Probably
2 months
great.
ago. And like we said, they didn't have as big a problem with it all, right? Because it was the layoff, it was the wait, it was the fan theory. By the time they're finding out one thing, another thing's happening, right? So you're kind of almost like it's coming at you too fast, right? To where everything seems rushed in the show. Rewatching Game of Thrones, which I'm going to do, I'm going to rewatch it. I'm actually excited to rewatch the first 6 seasons just to get this fucking taste out of my mouth. So that's probably the next thing I'm going to do, starting when we get off this podcast. But if someone asked me about Game of Thrones, even a year ago after what I thought was a disappointing season 7, I would have said it's my favorite show of all time on TV.
Yeah,
that's what I would have said.
Okay, I mean,
now I might tell them to stop after season 6.
If we talk about best episodes, I actually think the best episode is the final episode of season 6. It's among people's favorites, but I think that is just overall the best episode when Cersei blows up the Sept. That episode is fucking amazing. But go back to your sports analogy earlier, that I think that you can almost kind of piece together what's happening with the Warriors right now versus what happened to Game of Thrones. There are certain elements of your team that you can lose and still be good. We see it with the Warriors, that you lose Kevin Durant and hey, everyone just kind of picks up their game and the Warriors are just as good. We remember these Warriors. The problem is, let's say you lost Curry and you didn't lose Durant. Would you still be winning at the rate? Would you have got past Houston without Curry? I don't know. know. And it seems like Game of Thrones lost the script of George R.R. Martin, and taking that element out just sunk it.
I think the answer is Draymond and Clay, to use that same analogy. I think Steph Curry is Cersei and Kevin Durant is Danny. I think the core, the people who get the least credit are Clay and Draymond, right? Which would be the script and Tyrion and those secondary characters. To kind of give a solution to both of your debate before about should the show carry on. Yes, the show should have gone on 5 seasons. Guess what? If Jon Snow and Danny and one other person want to go do something else, fucking kill them off and keep it moving. We've done it since the beginning of the show. We've seen first it was Ned Stark, then it was Robb Stark, then it was Jon Snow, then it was the show about Danny, then the show flipped about Tyrion. Like, just kill him and bring someone else in. You could have killed off Bran easily if he wanted to go do something else. You could have killed off Danny and Jon, and you could have realistically kept this show going as long as you weren't getting a mass exodus. You keep Jaime alive, maybe you keep Cersei alive. You could have flipped the script if there were 1 or 2 main actors who said, we got to get the fuck out of here. It wouldn't be like losing Kramer in Seinfeld or Jerry in Seinfeld or something. Like, they've been doing this since the beginning. We just rotate main characters for 8 years. Like, keep it rotating and keep people who want to keep doing it and get paid. Because I'm sure 85%, 90% of that cast did still want to get paid and did still want this to keep going.
Yes.
You could have killed off the other 2.
And now what you have to wait for is like Kit Harington's career to flame out in 5 years.
Which he's a terrible actor.
Yeah, he's not great.
Do you guys agree with that? Kit Harington is the worst actor on the show, and it's not close.
Amelia Clarke is the worst actor.
She's the second worst. She's the second worst.
I actually thought Kit Harington, because I went and watched like different episodes of like season 1 and season 2 as like over the past year and a half. Like, Kit Harington is like a legit atrocity in season 1.
And the accent changes every scene.
But he gets significant. He's not good by the end, but he's not like a dumpster fire by the end. Like he was. Like, if you watch him at the very beginning, like it's painful to watch his scenes.
I never got past it, Pat, because I'm huge. Like, this is the reason. I know you guys love The Wire, and it's the greatest thing ever. I never made it past the 3rd episode of The Wire because the acting was so bad.
Oh, which seems really crazy, by the way.
I know. I'll try and give it another chance again. I've tried it twice, and I don't like bang bang shoot 'em up cop movies to begin with.
It's
like the 5th best show HBO ever put out. So
I agree. And everyone keeps telling me the why, and it's people who I trust their opinion. It's people who like other shows I like, and don't like bang bang shoot 'em up movies. They're saying it's not. I get it. I just thought the acting sucked. But Kit Harington in the first season, I remember when I was watching Game of Thrones and I was locked into it, I had to tough through his scenes. And I never really let him rebound from that. So I've always looked at him as a shit actor. And I think that's what kind of hurt this season a lot, that some of the most pivotal scenes of this season were Danny and Jon. And you just have shitbag, horrible fucking actor talking to shitbag, horrible fucking actor at what's supposed to be these really emotional, passionate scenes with all these interwoven, we're brother and sister, but we want to fuck, but you might take my throne. Like, there's so many angles in there. And I was just like, can we just show Jaime talking to Tyrion and shut these 2 the fuck up?
I mean, those were
those
were really the 2 best scenes of the entire season. Were the 2 Jaime Tyrion scenes?
No, just have them talk the whole. That's why I said if Jaime and Tyrion were willing to stay on the show with Cersei, fucking, you're good. Like, let everyone else the fuck go. Keep Varys around and just let them just fucking talk for 4 more seasons. I'll watch.
I think a lot of the problem too was like, even to go back to so much of that in between stuff, like when we got really the Jaime Brienne stuff that was really good.
Useless.
It was them like walking, like the first time, like when he got his hand cut off and they were walking.
Oh,
back
that was good. Yeah, back then. Yeah.
But like that build was just them walking along the King's Road and like talking and then fighting people and then having a moment. And I know a lot of people last season complained like Littlefinger's jetpack, where he can just get around the world wherever he wants. That became the biggest problem of the condensed episodes, is that for the first like 5 seasons, everyone was so far spread out on the world that you only had to check in with them once or twice an episode to show like their incremental progress to where they were going, and it would take them an entire season to get somewhere, and then you get all that character building along with it. I think one of the biggest issues here is this cast did not mesh as well as maybe they thought it was going to, because these characters were never actually together. And then you could cut around some of like the duller parts or make stuff make stuff seem more interesting than it is in very small doses, because you could have 8 different locations in the course of an entire episode. And then when you pile everyone together, well, now they're just stuck. And if you want to put them somewhere, everyone complains that they get there too fast. Like, they wrote themselves into a corner.
I think maybe the acting got exposed. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, because it's not, this isn't Arrested Development. It's not an ensemble show. There's a lot of characters, but it's a lot of one-on-one moments and characters pairing off and just having them all together and some of this unique mixes that we hadn't seen before. Like, turns out Danny just doesn't interact well with anyone. And they could have, I like the way that they set it up for the first few episodes. And that was the one part of the season that I thought was actually somewhat subtle that did pay off. I could have used a bit more of it, was the isolation that Danny was feeling from everyone else.
Yeah.
But they just fast forwarded so much after the Battle of Winterfell to get to where they were going.
And she basically just said, like, I don't feel like they love you like they love me. Like, you didn't need to say that. Like,
No,
we were feeling that already. You didn't need
her,
to tell us. We got it.
Just her walking away from that thing, and like Varys kind of like side eyeing her. I think that was enough. We didn't need to pound that into the ground.
We didn't need the verbal confirmation of it, right?
But this also goes back to, and this is what I wanted to bring up off the top, was whenever I'm in a situation like this, and like we're the three of us are in far too deep on this, and anyone listening to this is in far too deep. They're paying attention to who's hating it online and what's the instant reaction to everything. I called my dad this morning because my dad loves Game of Thrones, but he's never been on like the internet in his life. He has no fucking idea. I asked him, I was like, did you like the last season? He's like, yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. And I think that people who aren't super into it thought it was fine, to tell you the truth.
I think it's
people who are just aren't super online liked it.
Well, I think Tim, I think it's actually, I've said from the beginning, I don't know if I said this on the pod with you, Pat, or whether it was with Pizzola, but I said the thing about Game of Thrones that made it great was I felt like in order to really, truly appreciate it, you had to have a certain level of intelligence.
But you don't need to be as into it as a lot of people are.
No, you can like it.
It's just a show that comes on Sunday nights, and there's explosions, and there's dragons, and there's murder.
Yeah, that's what made it so great. It was a show you could enjoy at any number of levels you wanted to. You could have a very, very little time investment in it and love it, or you could invest more time into it and think more about it. Like, it was sort of a choose your own adventure, how much you wanted to get invested.
Right. And
but it was good to do it at any level you liked it.
You could be a sci-fi person and love it. You could be a sci-fi hater and then just really focus on the storylines. Like,
you keep saying this with sci-fi. There's no sci-fi in the show whatsoever.
Fantasy. I consider all sci-fi fantasy, all that shit. That's shit that I don't watch. I don't watch Lord of the Rings.
Well, Qyburn creating the mountain is basically Frankenstein.
Sure. So I think there's a big distinction between fantasy and sci-fi when we talk about genres of shows. Like,
in my world, it's all the same.
But it's not. It has nothing to do with one another. They don't correspond. In fact, sci-fi...
What's the difference? Enlighten us.
Well, sci-fi is...
Nerd out on me here, Pat.
I would just say that fantasy is... You have your dragons and you have your magic. I would say that sci-fi is generally the exact opposite of that. It's like hard science that gets evolved into the future, where we will be in terms of science and technology and that sort of thing, and what kind of...
So would you say that Westworld is sci-fi?
Yes, but Westworld is garbage. Westworld is just...
Oh, wow. We're going to fight.
Boy, is it not?
Wow.
It's a really bad. It's a truly terrible
about that
show.
later.
I don't even want to fight about it.
The first season of Westworld was one of my favorite seasons of television ever. The second season fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I agree.
The first season was one of the best first seasons of any television show ever.
I will continue to say that if Homeland ended the way it was supposed to, Homeland season 1 as the standalone season before they were like, hey, people like this show, let's make it 8 seasons. If it was supposed to be the one season that it was supposed to and end the way it was supposed to, it probably would have been the best season of TV history.
Homeland was a great first season. The Young Pope was a fantastic one-season show. Like, a lot of these shows only needed 1 year. Like, Westworld could have just stopped with Anthony Hopkins.
Tim, do you agree that Westworld first season was good or bad?
I liked it. I liked it enough that I tuned into the second season, was disappointed, and gave them 5 episodes and said, nope, this is trash, I'm out.
They really fucked up the second season.
And well, that's the thing that I was surprised that more people didn't do about this, which really shows you how good Game of Thrones was and that people were really, truly invested for. Because all people did was just hate this season. Yet they could not. But they could not wait for the next episode to come out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's easy, though, Pat? When you're in Westworld, right? Because, Tim, I'm in a full agreement with you. I probably liked season 1 even more than you. I put it as an epic first season. You probably just thought it was good and entertaining. But the thing, it's easy to break up with a show when you only got fucking 10 episodes invested in it.
Yeah.
Once a show goes to shit in late season 7, early season 8, 9 years. Like there's people who are 30 watching this show who when they started watching it couldn't even legally drink beer, right? Like this is like their adult life that they've spent watching this. It's almost like a marriage. When you're 10 years into a marriage with 3 kids who are 8, 6, and 4, it's very difficult to just shut it off and get out of it. Whereas if you just got married and your honeymoon went to shit and you're mad, you could shut the marriage down in 2 seconds. So I don't think people stayed in it this whole season because they really were desiring to stay in it. I think it's just, I put too much time into this thing.
I agree with you. I mean, that's why I was so frustrated with Lost. And that was a network TV show, so there was a heck of a lot more episodes than Game of Thrones. So
but it wasn't by the end. It was more episodes.
In terms of time, I bet you was pretty. I bet there had to have been more time.
Oh yeah, in terms of like overall, but like the final 4 seasons of Lost, they set the template for all this stuff, which maybe they should reconsider that template. Was we're going to pick an end date, and these are the X amount of episodes we have left.
Yeah, I think that is by
crazy.
setting an arbitrary end date on yourself. I think it's a bad idea. You should
it's insanity.
Go as organically as you can, unless there's some existential crisis that does prevent it, like an actor has to leave or is going to leave no matter what, sort of thing. But like even The Office, like lost Steve Carell and said, that's nice, we're going to keep this thing rolling for another 18 months. And
yeah, and then we got James Spader in our life with Robert California, which was,
it was pretty good. It wasn't as good as it was, but it was pretty good.
But
2.5 Men lost Charlie Sheen and kept going. Like literally the only thing in the show. It went to shit, but at least they tried.
Yeah, but that's also like a different comparison too. Like no one ever thought 2.5 Men was good. They just needed to be on because it was on CBS, and they were.
It was that show that you kind of when you're fucking answering emails and writing an article.
Sure, you could have it on in the background, yeah. but this is not what happened with Game. The exact opposite happened to Game of Thrones. That people were just so into it that it really became a problem for people. Like, if something made you as mad as it seems to be, like I said, like ruining people's days, like normally you would just stop doing that stuff. Like the way that people talk about the show is that they're addicted to heroin. Like it's ruining their lives in exactly the same way. And like, you can just turn off. Like it's not that big of a deal, fellas.
Well, see, the problem with it is now is you have, like, if you're in the Game of Thrones watcher community, it's like you're in the masses, right? Like the outsiders just hate Game of Thrones who haven't watched it just because they're jealous that they don't know what the fuck we're all talking about when it's the top 10 trending things on Twitter for the last 8 weeks. So when you're in that group, you almost feel like, all right, you know what? It's starting to piss me off. I want to bail on it, but I have to be here to at least see what the fuck's going on because I've spent 8 years as a part of this community. I can't give it up.
But also it was sort of a gut check for me the other day when I realized that, okay, it was like the number 10 top things trending on Twitter, and yet only 18 million or so people watched it. You know, there's 300 million people who live in America. There's 500 million people who live in North America, and it's the number one thing trending. Only 18 million people watch. It's like this Twitter really doesn't have much reach when you think about it. And so that like was sort of a reality. It's like what is going on the Twitter machine is really disconnected from the real world. No sense.
I thought you would have clued into that after we basically had this discussion the day after the election. It was like, well, people fell into this Twitter void of, I didn't know a single person that voted for Donald Trump. It's like, well, people fucking did.
Yeah, I won a lot of money on betting on it because I know regular people too. But
yeah, so you get into this, but there was a FOMO aspect of it too that kept people around that like this is what, and this has to
like what if it's like you said, dude. Like, listen, I want each of you to give me, you know, at least one thing, if not, you know, the whole ending, if you want, on what you would have done to change it in the ending, right? Like, because we were saying, Pat, there was still people out there saying up until 2 days ago, my uncle is the biggest, my Uncle Danny, you probably heard about him talk about him in the other pods. He is the biggest Game of Thrones apologist you've ever seen, right? Like bigger than anyone. Like he thought every episode this whole season was incredible. Like not even just good. He was in love with episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, every one. And even he, after yesterday, texted me and said, you know what? You were right a little bit. That last episode, they wrapped this up really poorly. It actually tarnished the first 5 episodes, my enjoyment, because he loved them so much thinking they're going to save it at the end. Don't worry, guys. They're going to save it at the end. They're not going to let this get fucked up. So my question to you guys is how would you have ended it? Because I have a little fan poll here that I have to read off a couple of questions to because we're giving out a t-shirt. But how would you guys have ended it? And Tim, I'll start with you if you're ready, or if not, Pat. Yeah. Give me what you would have done at the ending.
Obviously, if we go back to the start of the season, I would have put the Night King.
No. After episode 7, after episode 5, everyone's freaking out around the world. They come in, they go, listen, time out. We're stopping the show. The final episode will be in 3 months. Tim, take all the actors, Go and fix this and make this work so that people don't hate this show and compare it to Lost. Go.
I would have put Dany on the Iron Throne.
Okay, and what would you have done with everyone else?
Win. I would have let her win. I would have let her destroy Tyrion, destroy Jon Snow, and then begin to liberate the world with her band of warriors and soldiers and dragon, and leave Westeros having conquered it. Like Alexander the Great, you need more lands to conquer, and move on to the other so-called free cities and liberate them, and take, the Iron Bank of Braavos has too much power. Well, we'll break them too. Then we'll move on to Pentos and we'll break them. Then we'll go on to other parts of the world and we'll break them. I would have liked the idea that Dany, who was sort of like the most ostracized of all the characters, she didn't even get to see the other characters, for the first 5 seasons, becoming the Lord Paramount of the world. I would have liked to have seen all the guys that we sort of thought were heroes be destroyed, and that Dany was the ruler of the world. I thought that would have been true to the story. It would have been bittersweet, and it would have been better than just letting Bran have it, who they left off the show for an entire year, then brought him back and decided he could be king now.
Okay, so you would have killed everyone off in that process?
Not everyone. Some would bend the knee.
Okay.
But those who wouldn't bend the knee, Tyrion, Jon Snow, would have been destroyed.
All right. Pat, what would you have done?
I like that idea of Bran warging into the dragon and becoming the villain of it all. That him, and maybe it's him and Sansa who are actually in on it. Then once they kind of figure out, like, there's going to be the whole Dany thing that we go through, like, she's a mad person, then she has to kind of defend herself against Tyrion and Jon and Davos and the armies. Like, you could even have, I guess Grey Worm turned a bit towards the crazy in the last episode too, so maybe you don't need to convince him. But she explains herself, and they're like, well, we got a real problem here. Then you put Jon in a situation where he has to pick. Is he a Targaryen? Is he a Stark? Is he on the side of good? Is he on the side of evil? And then the real, if you like, you can see Bran like warging or turning into the Night King kind of thing. That's where you set up and you tie all of this stuff together, and that's actually where it pays off. And maybe Dany goes down, maybe Jon goes down, or Jon saves the day. He kills it. He gets Arya on his side. They kill off Sansa. They kill off Bran. Arya ends up in the north, and Jon ends up king with Dany, kind of thing. Like, I wouldn't have hated that.
That would have been fine. Yeah. I mean, I think we should have had the payoff of Bran warging into the dragon at some point. I think that had to happen in the end. I wanted this thing to end with us going through it. You get the turn, you get this one stabs this one, whatever it is. This needed to end in the great, because keep in mind, we're not setting up for a sequel. Like, if you're going to shorten this show for us right now and say, listen, guys, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is done. And if Pat's right about the actors wanting to do other shit, and if everyone wants to, there doesn't need to be Arya talking about, I'm going to figure out what's west. Like, don't set me up for fucking spinoffs. If you want to do spinoffs, then just keep the fucking show going and make the goddamn spinoffs the rest of the show. Don't do that. So I would end it with a clean fucking break. You could do spinoffs of thousands of years before this and all that kind of shit. You can go make a movie, a Game of Thrones movie, and make it like a 10 trilogy thing where you could start it from the beginning and just start over with these guys. But I would have had Bran be the Night King, Bran warg into the dragon goes and fucking bites Cersei's head off or something like that, bites Dany's head off. Everyone ends up dying. We don't know why the dragon went wild. Everyone starts fighting amongst each other. Grey Worm and Jon fight. One of them kill each other. And then at the end of the show, we see Bran on the throne and the dragon staring him down. And then you just see his eyes turn blue. And then we fade to black. So that you realize he was...
The dragon was so political, it knew it had to destroy the Iron Throne because of all the turmoil. Very perceptive dragon.
The dragon was a socialist.
I mean, they didn't just spend $500,000 on a shot from him shaking off ash and then going back to sleep. They had other plans for that dragon.
And he definitely had poor aim at first, though, because I was wondering why he was breathing fire all around the throne without hitting it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I guess Dany didn't know how to train her dragon.
It was a little bit weird, but to break down a little bit within this episode that just happened, we've just been bashing it, right? Like, and just saying what went
some
wrong.
Aspects of it. I still think the Dany stuff was good, and I ended up liking the finish of her character.
Yeah, like I thought, like I said before, I thought there was a lot of like filmmaking aspects of this season, and even in the last episode, that shot where the camera comes up behind Dany overlooking the city in ruins with all the armies out there, that was just a fantastic visual. There was a lot of
I love the dragon wings come from.
Yeah, I love the right before that or right after that when they showed the dragon wings behind her. Like that was dope.
Well, it was like even in the episode before when Varys went down and like the dragon appears out of like the smoke and the shadows.
That was sick. Yeah.
So there was cool moments like that. The episode shouldn't have. What should have happened was the episode shouldn't have been 120 minutes long. Just made it 10 episodes and make them all like 55 minutes.
That would have been better.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%. I don't know why they couldn't do that. I mean, it would have been better for ratings and money, wouldn't it? It's the same amount of time acting.
Yeah,
it's probably cheaper this way. You don't have to pay them for so many episodes.
Exactly.
Is that why it is? Because you're
I don't know. I mean, that would be the reason. If one or two of the actors,
because I'd imagine every episode, like regardless of like the amount of viewership and ad revenue is going to supersede.
Well, there is no ad revenue.
Not ad revenue, whatever. Yeah, there is ad revenue, I guess, on some level.
Well, I mean,
but the viewership,
the only ad revenue is just HBO push. Like we saw that right before the episode started.
There are other shows and shit like that.
HBO ran its trailer for Here's What's Upcoming, including Curb, which is coming back, which is fantastic.
That is exciting. So you don't think if they ran it 10 episodes, they would have made more money? You think they would have made less?
I think they would have made the same. I think it's all like a sunk cost to them at that point. It doesn't matter how they roll it out. Like splitting it into the 2 seasons is where they made all their money because everyone subscribed to HBO before season 7, canceled their HBO, and then resubscribed to it before, so they get that for it. And they make you log in not just for a month. If you have the 6 episodes, that goes over 6 weeks, so they get you for the 2 months. Whether it was 6, whether it was 8, it didn't really seem to make a difference.
Did you see the Poland Spring water bottle or whatever it was?
I did. I did. But I mean, that's something that like, and one of the main reasons like. When we say like they blew it, the Lost people blew it because they got into their head because they started reading the internet too much. Like that is legitimately something no one noticed until someone pointed it on the internet. Like
I agree.
That did not ruin the viewing experience of it. Even the coffee cup in the other one, where you're sitting there during the time, you're like, "Hey, there's a coffee cup." No, you found out about it an hour later.
Right.
No, it's like an NFL instant replay where only in 1/1000 speed can you see that the linebacker might have been out of bounds when he intercepted it. If you don't notice it in live time, it didn't happen.
I don't know. I just don't understand how no one can notice that stuff. But that shit doesn't bother me anywhere near as much as plot holes. Like, I don't care about that, right? Like, the plot holes are everything for me. I thought my biggest problem with the last episode, by far not even close, was that the whole nomination process scene. Everything we talked about, how Tyrion's on death row and he kind of decides and gives the speech when he shouldn't even be talking. He shouldn't even be out there. He should be in a fucking cage, like with Jon right now. He shouldn't even be out there talking. But just how corny as fuck it was. Like, what's the dude's name? The fucking cousin who was supposed to marry the Frey, and then we haven't seen him in 7 years.
Tully.
Edmure Tully.
Good.
What the fuck? What the fuck is he even doing?
Well,
where did he come from?
Well, it really felt like
Lord of the Riverlands.
Yeah, I was gonna say it really. I thought that what's his face was the Lord of the Riverlands now.
No. Lord of the Riverlands is still Tully, just like the young Aaron boy that was breastfeeding at the age of 5 was there.
Yeah,
as the Lord of the Vale.
Sweet Robin. But it really seemed like the North was
Who was like 45 right now.
Yeah, it really seemed like the North was overrepresented at that council. Like you had
why are we adding all the...
We had one person from Dorne, and where was Bronn? If Bronn's running Highgarden, shouldn't he have been on that council?
That is a very good question. I was wondering the same thing.
Huge oversight, because then he showed back up at the table at the end. I thought they just, maybe he fucking got sick that day or something.
There was one good aspect of that scene, and it was worth it, is when Samwell brought up the idea of democracy, and it was shot down in about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That was great. It's like, why don't I get my horse to have a vote too?
Speaking of horses, what happened? How did Arya literally ride off on a horse last episode, and then we open this episode and she's back there just chilling? Like, what happened to the horse? Like, what was this whole like horse buildup? Like, you opened this whole new fucking loophole that we need you to tie up. Like, who was this horse? Where did this horse come from? Where did she... And then what did she ride off to come right the fuck back?
Well, I don't think she rode off. I think she just got out of the city that was melting.
You made it seem like she was riding off into the sunset. Why couldn't she just walked off?
Well, one of those horses were Dothraki horses because they were all riding around on like the same horse. Like all of them were on those white horses when they showed the thing at the beginning.
But didn't you
weren't all killed?
Didn't
we don't know how the Dothraki were there?
Oh no! Every they all survived too. They all survived the burning, and the dragon has very good aim and made sure not to hit the Dothraki as it wiped out everyone and everything else in the city. But like, didn't you leave last episode going? They're gonna have to come back to this Arya horse scene here.
Well, I just thought like she was like on like she now has her purpose. She's made it out of this. She has her purpose, and she's gonna go like on the pale horse, go bring death to Dany. But that's not what happened.
Yeah, I mean, that
Which
was
is
just
good.
really
She
weird.
already killed one major villain. It would have been kind of cheap if she had killed two major villains.
Well, that was the thing. That was the problem. I mean, she could have killed two. It should have been Cersei with Jaime's face, and then it would have been fine. But she shouldn't have killed the other major villain. That's the thing. Like, and she had the whole faceless man training. What? Just to kill Walter fucking Frey?
Yeah.
no,
like-
she killed the Night King, which I guess
No,
was
but
what-
no, but the faceless training. Like you have a superpower, dude. Like all that shit could be done in real life. There's
that
people
was-
who are
in the end that was filler. That was a waste.
like
of
the face. She had a superpower. She
Mhm.
could change faces. She could morph into someone else, adopt their body, voice, size, and face, which is incredible, and didn't use it past killing a 95-year-old man. Like, didn't use it in the fucking wars, didn't use it in the battles, didn't use it anywhere, didn't use it to kill Cersei or the Night King. Like, the fuck did you drag me through a whole season of that?
I guess she
for?
used it to kill the whole family of Freys too, right? Isn't that like the first scene of
Yeah.
season 7?
She killed
Yes.
him and then used
So
his
that was
face to
kinda
kill
it.
everyone else. Yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
the last time she used it. Yeah.
and that was the only time. So you drag us through a whole season. Like, literally, Walter Frey and them could have just slit Walter Frey's throat 5 minutes later, and we would have been fine with it. We didn't need that whole season of waste of her faceless training to just pay off once. But the worst thing about the end was they were adding too much corny comedy into the last episode. Like, that's the episode where you want like emotional suspense and drama. Like, even when Davos going like, I don't know why I get a vote, but I like all that stuff. The dude sitting up and speaking and everyone laughing at him. Like, that was a big scene. You're actually anointing the new king. This is the apex of the show. This is the peak. This is the pinnacle. This is what everyone's been waiting for. And you're adding in corny jokes and
Well,
like
I
Tully dumb shit.
I actually thought the Tully dumb shit stuff worked to the favor of them actually choosing Bran. Like, there are no good candidates here. Like, let's just pick this guy. Like, let's not pick this biggest loser. We'll pick this guy who can't walk.
I don't know. It just seemed it was just bad.
Well, for a moment, I thought they were going to pick Samwell Tarly, and I was terrified by that.
I thought it was just going to be Tyrion. He was going to nominate him. He was going to pull a reverse heel and just act like season 1 Tyrion and nominate himself.
Well,
I mean,
as the Lannister guy, he should have had a vote too.
Well, he did. I mean, that's the reason that he was there. Despite the fact that he was the prisoner, he's the one who is the head of Casterly Rock now. That's why he was able to come out, because he's technically a part of that tribunal.
I mean, they didn't even want to vote. They were laughing at the vote at first. So I don't know why they brought him out to be a part of the vote. That didn't make any sense.
Well,
Bronn
they-
has to be there.
Well, Bronn doesn't run his. Bronn runs the one that the old lady had in Queen Marjorie.
Yeah, but he runs something. He needs to be there.
Yeah, but Tyrion technically runs Casterly Rock too. They should both be there. If they
Tyrion's about to die. He doesn't get a vote.
well, he does get a vote. He run that. He's one of the head lords.
But
of
they
the,
didn't
of
know
the
what they
realm.
were. They didn't know they were going to vote on it.
They didn't
No,
bring him out to vote, though. They brought him out, and he's the one who decided they should vote. Like,
Sure,
they had no
but
intention on voting.
They brought him out because they gathered all the lords of Westeros, and technically, I mean, I don't know why Bronn wasn't.
No, they
there.
brought him out to sentence him,
Did they?
right? Like, they brought him out to sentence him to death or what was going to
It's
happen to him,
also
didn't they?
possible that Bronn didn't get Highgarden
Until after. Yeah, that's true.
Bran became king, right?
That's true
timeline-
because Tyrion did promise. But I mean, I still listen. This is the first episode, the first one since the show started, season 1, that I refused to watch twice. I was like, I got to watch this again. I couldn't even. I'm like, fuck this. Like, that's how disappointed I was last night with this whole entire fucking thing. I couldn't even watch it again.
Whatever happened?
I had no interest.
Whatever happened to the Dorne lady who was locked up in the
I
the
assume
dungeon?
she's dead,
She
or
just-
she was saved by Mo.
Too many assumptions.
She
too
was-
many.
she
Too
was-
many. I assumes. Too many. I assumes.
got-
Everything was I assume.
You got questions from the peoples?
I have one giveaway that I have to do. So I offered at elitefantasy.com. We did a little Game of Thrones finale giveaway for a t-shirt. So I'm going to let you guys pick. I have some of the favorites here. We basically told them, outside of the ending of disappointment, tweet your wildest endings. And so we have some people here. I think I am going to choose this one from Brad McAllister. He said, John gives Dany a huge facial, but it's milk of the poppy and she dies. Tyrion designs a weird wheelchair ramp so Bran can rule the rest of his days, accomplishing absolutely nothing during his reign. Anything with a facial on it, I'm a big fan of.
That sounds very much your MO. You and this Brad guy are in simpatico.
Yes, there was a couple people who used some tire irons and some conspiracy stuff with me. Do you think we should give the prize to the person who actually got the ending right?
No, absolutely not. I do these draws every week, so I guess I'll throw out my own draw too.
If you have something, throw it out.
If you can't win this one, if you go and if you're watching this on the video form, that's video, that's audio, and you smash the like button, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me what you think would have happened, or who should have happened, or who you think should have ended up on the Iron Throne, you can be a draw for 20 DK bucks. Or if you subscribe, rate, and review the Pat Mayo Experience, 5 stars, leave your DraftKings handle, say something nice about the show, that'll be another draw for 20 DK bucks. I'll give away 40 bucks for the show.
Oh, there we go. So we're handing out free money here just for listening to a fucking podcast. I'm also torn between M. Sigs here, Pat, who said Bran looks away from whatever's going on. His eyes turn White Walker blue. He gets out of his chair and walks away alone and seen. Maybe he comments something about balance restored or old game done, new game to come. I think the non-comment there, but I think I'm partial towards this answer.
I like that one the best.
Because that's the best. It didn't matter what happened up to it. You didn't need, like, Bran goes full White Walker, gets up, stands, walks off the throne, maybe even kind of morphs into the Night King as he's walking with some cool special effects. And then it's over. And guess what? You're ending on a
Yeah, I agree. Because otherwise, like, what's the point of even having a Night's Watch or a wall anymore?
Right. John even said it.
They get along with the wildlings, and there's no more White Walkers to come. So, like, why even need a wall?
Yeah. So I'm going to give the prize. Mark Sig 79. You win. So I'm going to give you the W right now because that was actually the ending that I wanted. So I'm going to write this down. But I mean, I think that would have probably at the end of that episode, even though I hated the season and I hated the episode, I would have literally walked away.
Saves so much. Like
the last 5 seconds can save the whole season.
Yeah, I agree.
And that would have been like, oh, because guess what I'm doing now, Pat? Now I'm going back and going, oh, so was he? Let me go rewatch this. Maybe he was the Night King the whole time. Maybe he warged into the dragon, and he was trying to make sure that the bad side was winning. Maybe he was taking over. Maybe he's the reason John fell off. It could get my mind going again, whereas when this episode ended, my mind was just dumb and tired.
Yeah.
Whereas it would have ratcheted it. So
I mean,
something as simple as that.
Look, just even look at a football game. A great last 2 minutes.
Look at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, can save an utterly
Super
boring
Bowl was
contest.
shit for 90 minutes, right? And then the last 5 minutes of the game saved the whole Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm with you. A great ending can save anything. Got any other viewer stuff?
Most of the questions are really just bitching. Like, because my timeline tends to draw
you got
a lot of hate.
Well, you got people with, Tommy, let's be real here. A lot of people who follow you got real problems. So
of course. Yeah, they follow their leader.
I can see how they're like extremely triggered about stuff that doesn't really
What
matter.
about the comments of, let me find them here. So we had the comments from the actor who played Bran. Did you see those?
No, I didn't. I try not to read too much of that stuff. The only reason I clicked on that Bran ending thing is just because it literally popped up. I was like, that sounds interesting.
I forget his name, it's Elijah something maybe or something like that. But the actor who played Bran said, I genuinely thought it was a joke script. Like, yeah, good one. This is a true quote. I genuinely thought it was a joke script. Like, yeah, good one, guys. Oh, shit. It's actually real. That was his comment.
I like that. That's funny.
Well, like,
right?
I'm the three-eyed raven and I don't want anymore. And then 7 episodes later is like, yeah, I want to be king.
Just kidding. Like, what the fuck was that? Like,
that makes a lot of sense.
Do you think we're going on an Arya spinoff here?
No, I don't think you're going to see you're not going to see a direct spinoff of any of these stories for a while because they're working on that like prequel one.
I mean, they're setting up though for an Arya spinoff or an Arya movie, right?
I think they actually. This is probably by the guise of Like, let's not forget that there's that part of it too that we'll never know is how much influence did HBO have on this ending. That hey, you need to write it this way so we can make another show off of this later on.
Well, I mean, they set themselves up for Dany being the Night Queen, right? Like, but wouldn't that be dope as fuck if Drogon takes Dany off and there's some, like a frozen throne that we've never seen somewhere that the Night King used to sit on, and somehow she could turn into the Night Queen and start fucking building an army?
Yeah, but then you're going to get the one good thing about like an Arya spinoff is you take your most popular character and then you put her into a completely different situation, detached from everyone else who's a part of the show. She can have her own adventures, so you can go hire cheaper actors to be in it. And if you start doing like Night King stuff and dragon stuff, as we found out, that's the cost of that stuff gets out of control. You can make a very sustained Arya spinoff, pay Macy Williams whatever she wants, hire some other people around her, create some new sets, and basically just keep your costs down and get the same sort of impact on bang for your buck, because I don't know if they want to spend this much money on a show again.
But when
What do you
I
think?
recommend spin-off shows from other shows we watch, you criticize me every time.
What?
I've recommended spin-off shows for all kinds of
I don't want to see a spinoff of any of this shit. I'm just telling you that it is a spinoff. That's probably the one.
Maybe. I don't know.
There's been what, one good spinoff in the history of TV?
Which one? Better Call Saul?
I was going to say Frasier, but Better Call Saul was correct as well. So 2.
I don't know. Maude was a pretty good spin-off of All in the Family.
Oh, it took about an hour, but there it is.
Did you want to talk about this movie list before I get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I put out that
By the way, before we do that, let's just wrap this up. Overall grade of Game of Thrones as a show in general, and then the season, Pat.
I will give it an A- as a show this season, C-.
Okay. Timandicus.
I'm going to agree with the rating of A- for the series. I am going to give it a D+ for the season.
I am actually going to do something that I never thought I would ever do. I'm going to give it an A- also after it went from A+, and I'm going to give this season a D+ also. I don't think it can. I'm right with you, Tim. I don't think it can be an F, because, like I said, it's still better than 99% of the shit I would have watched, even if I hated it.
My experience, after people talk to me for like an hour, they end up agreeing with me on things anyway. So
you're very persuasive. I actually almost want to sleep with you just from hearing you talk.
I can just jump out of here and you guys can have Jets radio for the next hour. If you really
We'll just
want
blow
to.
each other for the next 20 minutes. But yeah, I think if you don't compare it to prior seasons of Game of Thrones, and you just compare it as a standalone compared to the other shit that we'll spend time watching, it's probably a C+ as a show.
Yeah, no, sure.
Or maybe even a B-.
Yeah,
right. Even as a bad season, but I got to compare it to other. Yeah. So I'm going to give it A- D+. So I'm with you there. Okay, Pat, go. Movie time.
So I put this out on Saturday night. I was debating the best movies of the millennium with some of my friends, and we made a list. And I just chucked a whole bunch of movies up there. And I do think that we got most of them. And did I say this on the podcast or did I tell you off air? I can't remember.
No, that was off air.
I was off air.
We haven't talked movies yet.
Okay, so the list is up there and people had a lot of opinions. The whole thing is that there's intentionally...
Would you like to rattle off the list anyway? Just real quick, 2 seconds, just so people can hear it. So
yeah,
you said best movies from 2000 on.
From 2000 on, yes, because I said millennium. Then people were like, the millennium actually started in 2001? Like,
that person deserves an automatic block.
Like, fuck off.
I thought that person was Tim.
No.
I could see Tim fine pointing that.
No, the person who like, there was like 2 or 3 people, and I assume they have no friends.
Fuck them.
They have no friends in real life, so I'm not too concerned about that. They can just be mad about that on the internet. So,
yeah.
And these are in, like, I mean, the first 2 are in order, and then we started reeling some off, and I just added them to a list. And there's no numbers next to them, so I don't know why people get so triggered over it. But There Will Be Blood, No Country for Old Men, 1 and 2, and I think those are the best 2. Then you have some sort of mix of Social Network, Mulholland Drive, The Master, Dark Knight, Eternal Sunshine. Castaway is on that list for a very specific reason. Apocalypto, which was my choice.
The wrong reason.
City of God, Old Boy, Children of Men, Pan's Labyrinth, Wolf of Wall Street, Prestige, Django, Inglourious Bastards, and Sideways, because I contended that it is a drama, not a comedy, although most people do.
And by the way, this list was supposed to be no comedies, and Pat put a comedy on his list.
I don't view it as a comedy. I just find it as a very
Sideways is 100% a comedy.
I mean, there is as much comedy in Sideways as there is in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, they're both pretty funny movies.
Wolf of Wall Street almost doesn't qualify.
Yeah, so
because it's comedy.
I just think Sideways is just so sad that it really trumps that part of it. It walks.
It's probably more on the darker comedy side.
It is, but it's not comedy, but it's not like dark comedy. It's just like sad, and then there are humorous moments, and it goes.
What would you categorize Fargo as?
Like
Fargo's a comedy.
Fargo
right?
the movie. Now I would have it as a tweener. I would have it as
Fargo the show.
Oh, Fargo the show.
Or Fargo the movie. Either way.
No, see, I would have.
It's probably different actually.
If I was marketing the movie for awards, I'd say it's a comedy because those are easier to win, especially when you're secretly a drama. And I think that's why Sideways got marketed as a drama. But I think it's a pretty serious movie, to tell you the truth.
I would put Fargo as comedy.
I would put it as drama, but it is
my beloved Timothy. What would you put it as?
I would have it as a comedy. I don't really watch the show, so my opinion on that basically doesn't exist. But the movie, I would have as a comedy.
Timmy, we agree on everything. I love it. Timmy, how much do you hate being called Timmy? I could see you hating that.
It doesn't matter to me. The amount of names I get called and the nicknames and the sobriquets that I have, they just all roll off my back at this point.
Do any of your friends start calling you Andercust?
Would you say 100%?
I would say 100%, but I'd say 95%. I just
like real life friends that you grew up with.
Oh yeah, I just get used to it. I don't care about these stuff. Actually, doesn't bother me. I don't care.
All right, that's good. That's why we love you. All right, Pat.
And it's not Andercust. We just call him Cust. That's the way that works. Even when he gave the best man speech at my wedding, he walked up to the Tim Andercust music. It was great.
That's awesome.
We didn't pay the DJ enough. He was a bit slow on the draw, and the music was down, but I still found it funny.
Didn't have the quickest of triggers. All right, so good. All right, back to the movie stuff here.
So the whole thing this came out, like I was talking about it with my two buddies, who one's a director, one's a writer, and we were having a really
flex.
It was a very obnoxious movie conversation that's not for. It's for people who, like you mentioned, like very critically want to look at movies, really want to pick apart certain things. It was not a, hey, I really like this movie. This movie is great conversation, which is where some of the ones that I intentionally left off the list got into the situation. So, I mean, we'll get into Avatar in a second. That was not intentionally off the list. That's just a bad.
Here comes Tim. You can hear Tim like Drogon in the back.
However, the whole thing was I actually made a bet with him that I could get the amount of response. We set an over-under on the amount of replies that I could get to it. And we actually hit that because it's up to, within the 12-hour period that I had to win the bet, it was over under 350. I said I'd get over. They said I'd get under. And we got around like 400 and something. So that really helped. You really helped out with that too because you saw me trying to.
It was late at night too. I saw you out. I saw you looking for interaction because I saw you responding to people that you probably normally wouldn't respond to.
I wouldn't, so and I actively told them that they're like. Whenever someone put in that a movie wasn't on the list was good, I just told them that it was absolute garbage and they were an idiot.
Yeah, there was one point where you responded to someone with like 5 followers, and I was going to say, Pat, come on, he has 5 followers.
Well, you were even responding to the trolls. Well, so are you a follower supremacist, Tim? Like someone has to have a certain amount of followers in order to get a response. Do you vet every tweet's profile to see if they're response worthy?
No, I certainly don't. But like, I don't get into like big fights on Twitter in general. But I certainly don't get into like clapbacks with someone with so few. What's the point, right? Like,
yeah, they just created the account. I love the 0 followers that have been created for like a day. They come attack you and then they start again the next day.
You get used to it.
Yeah, I love it.
Tim runs like 25 burner accounts of his own, and like if you ever see anything positive commented at Tim, it's Tim doing it to himself to prop himself. and then
are you the Kevin Durant of
but then
I barely run my own account.
But then he'll cite those people as like, see, this guy agrees with me. Like, Tim, that's your own account. So there were 5 movies I left off the list because I figured that to win this bet, just putting this out there, especially at the time of night that it was, that there was one of 2 ways I could win it. One was I could say something absolutely scorching where I'd be fired the next day, and that would get
which is what I do. Usually.
Yeah, but you
I can't be fired. That's the nice thing.
You own your own company.
I do it. Right.
This works out well for you, so you can't be fired. So I don't have that luxury. So I thought that I would intentionally leave out right answers that people I know love, and then they'll get all fired up about that and continue to reply with the same answer. And that's really how I rigged it to win. So the 5 movies that I left off that list: The Departed, Inception, Lord of the Rings, Get Out, and Mad Max were 5 movies I know that people really like. I wouldn't have them inside my top 10 of the millennium.
Mad Max would not even. I saw too much Mad Max on the list.
Such overrated.
That movie fucking sucked.
It was not a good movie.
It was terrible. I would never watch that movie again. Ever.
Oh my God, really? Whenever that movie is on, you can tune into any point and just go.
Right. You could do that for 5 minutes. I'll tune because it's the same thing for the whole movie, just dumb shit. So it's like cool for a minute, and then it's like, all right, enough of this shit. So
anyway,
that movie
it would not make my top 10 of the millennium. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, but like something like
Inception, yes.
Inception, no. Like Inception's not. There are 2.
There are 2 best Christopher Nolan movies.
There are 2 very clearly better Christopher Nolan movies.
I didn't have it on my top 7.
Better, The Prestige is better, and Dark Knight were better.
Memento's better too.
And Memento's better.
Memento's probably the best movie ever, in my opinion.
That's not true.
When
was it? See, we had this discussion too. Is when was the last time you saw Memento? Because there's like a lot of people kept commenting Requiem for a Dream, and when I was 17, I would have agreed with them. I watched it like 2 years ago, and it's kind of garbage.
I mean, that kind of, it's a matter. A lot of these movies don't hold up, right? Like, so that has to be a part of, you know, how all timey it is, right? Like, how much does it hold up later? Like, honestly, Star Wars doesn't fucking hold up. Like, have a kid watch Star Wars now. I mean, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and I would still say Empire Strikes Back is the best of all of them. So
right, but I mean, they don't hold up. Like, Avatar, you guys keep shitting on, which I don't think is the greatest movie of all time, but it has to be in that elite list. That fucking movie holds up today like it did the day it came out.
Yeah, but it holds up as being bad.
Whether you like it or not, it holds up.
Well, it doesn't hold up because it's an actively bad movie.
It is not a bad movie.
It's awful. The effects are incredible. But you can say,
I mean, that's an important part of an all-time. It changed the game.
Well, if
it
we're going to say that,
we
just talked. Did it really? What other movies come out like Avatar?
Avatar was so far and away better graphically than anything else that we'd seen at that point that everyone started going into this fucking whole superhero movie fucking run after that, which I don't really love that happened. But at the same time, Avatar was a very entertaining movie. You could say it bit off something else or it copied another. What did you say it was? What did you say it copied?
It's basically Pocahontas, or Dances with Wolves. One of the two. But I mean,
half the movies out there.
That is not what, I mean, if we're going to go back to what started off this comic book craze, The Dark Knight started all of this.
Well, didn't Iron Man actually come out before The Dark Knight?
Yeah, but superhero movies weren't taken seriously until The Dark Knight. Like, that was a real, I
wonder whether that's true. Like, I think the first Iron Man, which came out the same year, I think that was taken pretty seriously.
You can argue that Avatar was before all this.
It wasn't, because it came out like a year and a half later.
What Dark Knight really isn't the same thing. Dark Knight was like a really good, real good drama movie that just happened to be about Batman.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
Right? Like, I don't put Dark Knight in that, like, special effects. Whoa, wow, look at the shit that's going on over here. Black Panther, Avatar. Like, Dark Knight, I put it in there with, like, The Departed and great movies.
The Dark Knight shares so many similarities with, like, Heat that it's kind of crazy. Especially that, like, opening bank job scene, which is just like the one in Heat. So, but what I'm saying is that in terms of, like, setting off that superhero movies don't need to, like, I really like the original Iron Man, but it's just it's just like the Spider-Man movies that Sam Raimi did. Like, they're fun, they have this contained story, and they go on, like what you see even with, like, in Avengers Endgame, like the entire Avengers series, that you can have superhero movies that are taken a bit more seriously, and that didn't happen until Dark Knight came around.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, listen, I'm a huge fan of Dark Knight and Iron Man. Dark Knight more, but I'll give you that. I don't understand how Castaway makes this list. Like, the fuck world does Castaway make this list? That has to be Tim.
No, I don't like that movie.
No,
all right. Then me and Tim agree on more stuff than I thought.
I would have on here are like Zero Dark 30, The Hurt Locker. Those are two of the best of the millennium. Indefensible not to have them on, in my opinion.
Yeah, when was the last time you watched them?
I watched Zero Dark 30 last year. I can't remember the last time I watched The Hurt Locker. Both were very engaging. Very profound movies that were great.
The only thing I remember about Zero Dark 30 is when they made that guy get back in his fucking box. That's it.
That's literally the only thing I remember. I've seen it. That's the only part I remember.
I mean, of course, it's quite different than, like, Avatar, which is just an anti-American, anti-Iraq war, cheap James Cameron hit job. That just has dialogue that no one can believe in. The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30 are different in that they're telling actual stories of courage and stories of America being a good actor in the world.
Did you take on your pro-America stance?
I was gonna say, wow, you got really pro-America there.
Well, just because Avatar is so anti-American, I just despised
it. Anti-American, anti-capitalist too.
Very anti-capitalist. Again, James Cameron's not a very good writer, and he's not a very good director. Like, Titanic is not a good movie. True Lies is not a good movie.
No, True Lies. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
They're not good movies.
True Lies is an excellent movie, but True Lies knows what it is, and Avatar doesn't know what it is. It's like Terminator knows what it is. Aliens knows what it is. And then once James Cameron made Titanic, obviously it took him forever to make anything else, but I mean, from being, like, apparently the world's most gigantic asshole, he just feels very self-important with Avatar. And now there's going to be, like, I mean, Tommy, you're in luck because there's, like, 4 more Avatars coming out in, like, the next 5 years.
Yeah, we'll see about that. You can say that, but I
I probably won't even watch the other ones. I just
After
really
Avatar
enjoyed
2
the
in
first
another
one.
3 decades.
So
I really enjoyed the first one.
The problem with a lot of these listed, like especially some of the responses, is one, you can tell like how advanced people are at movie watching by some of the answers that they come back with, just like truly horrendous movies, like objectively bad movies. But there's a difference between movies you really like and movies that are truly great. Like,
Well, that's the thing. Like Avatar is a movie that, like, listen, my list that I wrote for my top 7 was Memento, Departed. I know Tim's gonna hate this one. Training Day, Avatar, Wolf of Wall Street, Social Network, Dark Knight.
so
I'm probably missing 1 or 2. This was 2:00 in the morning, and I was just throwing shit on paper.
I'm probably one of the most active people against Training Day is actually a good movie. It's a lot like Departed. I mean, Departed's better, but it's along in that sense. It's just more.
They are similar.
It's more of a fun movie. Like it's entirely rewatchable. You have a good time when you watch it.
Denzel kills it.
is so
Denzel's
fucking
fantastic.
good in that
Is,
movie.
is there ever a movie that he's been bad in? Like, he's so fucking good.
Well, he only plays like 3 characters, so you get one.
But that's what I love. Like, he knows what he's good at, and he fucking crushes it.
Agreed. Listen,
You know?
Denzel's fantastic, but that movie,
Right. He's not Shaquille O'Neal trying to shoot threes.
That movie is a bad remake of Bad Lieutenant. Is all it is, and Bad Lieutenant's better.
What was your take on? You ever see Closer, the movie?
I like Closer. I actually watched it about 6 months ago, and it's kind of a slog now.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it again since. But that was when that movie came out. I thought it was great. It was like 2003 or 4.
Yeah, that was one of Mike Nichols' last movie. I really like the end of it with Natalie Portman going to the States.
I like the movie. I like the way they wrapped it up. I like the way they intertwined the stuff.
Yeah,
so it was an underrated movie.
It seems like a movie of its time, though. Like when you watch it now, you're like, this feels like it's from the early 2000s.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. Now, what's the one movie you would say that you could guarantee? Because keep in mind, not all of us are connoisseurs of cinema like you two. What's a movie that you could say that probably 95% of people haven't seen? It doesn't have to be a fantastic movie.
City of God.
Something for them to go home and watch tonight.
Go
that
watch.
You say, listen.
Go watch. I mean, if you haven't seen Apocalypto, watch Apocalypto because Apocalypto is fucking incredible. But City of God, it's in Portuguese, but you don't really need to pay attention. Like it's about what happens on the screen. And Apocalypto is the same way. It's in a different language, but it's just a visual, like visceral.
Well, you're talking about the No Mercy listeners here too, so they don't read.
Okay,
so I'm
perfect.
going to need something without
I
words.
recommend The Lives of Others. That's probably one of the best films of all time, let alone the decade. It's a German movie, but it's about like life under communist rule. But people who've seen the movie, like movie critics, love this movie. It's highly acclaimed in many circles. It's a great movie called The Lives of Others.
So
What about a comedy?
A comedy. I mean, if people haven't seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, like if it would probably that or Thank You for Smoking would end up being near the very top of my favorite comedy list.
I'm going to give you a comedy here that I don't know if
it's not this fucking Dane Cook movie that you go on.
Yes, it
about.
is.
Oh, my
Yes, it is. My Best Friend's Girl. That's going to be my recommendation. Have you seen it?
No.
Have you seen it, Tim?
I have not. I have no opinion.
No one has ever seen this fucking movie, and it's kind of raunchy, but out there, you've heard me say it before. Go watch My Best Friend's Girl. Especially, this will be more the No Mercy crowd than the Pat Mayo Experience crowd listening to this. More the Neanderthal fucking crowd. But My Best Friend's Girl, it's got a lot of famous actors in it too. It's got Kate Hudson in it. Dane Cook, I hate, but he's great in this movie. Alec Baldwin's in it. The kid from fucking American Pie is in it. So
stop.
What's weird?
Stop
these aren't.
Hey, we can remake Game of Thrones right now with that cast.
It is not Apocalypto. It is not fantastic acting. It's just a funny fucking movie and a great date movie, which shockingly had no one ever seen it with 5 or 6 big actors in it. It doesn't make sense why no one's ever seen it.
Well, have you seen Apocalypto?
I actually haven't. No, that's why I was asking you.
You should. It's a Mel Gibson movie for one thing, so people have really turned on it.
Well, that's why I don't want to see it.
Really, Mel Gibson's not actually.
I'm not anti Mel Gibson. I just fucking think he sucks.
Well, he's not actually in the movie.
That helps. That's actually might make it worse if he's the one.
I mean, if you reel off like the Mel Gibson directorial, I think there's 4 of them. They're all like, I don't know. Did you see Passion of the Christ?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So it's like the
That's a good movie.
It's like
I thought it was terrible.
It's like the good version of it has the same like the violence in Passion of the Christ, how realistic it is. Well, just think about that and apply it to the Aztecs and them just going around just slaughtering people. It's fucking.
I mean,
incredible.
Braveheart. Obviously, Mel Gibson directed that. So
yeah. So I'd say this is
was
closer.
great.
This is closer to Braveheart than it is to Passion of the Christ in terms of just pure enjoy. Like it's a crazy. It's like no movie you've ever seen. But City of God, like for a foreign movie, is highly watchable and it's really really good. But I mean, people haven't seen There Will Be Blood, which is the best movie of the millennium.
That was great. That was fantastic. There Will Be Blood was fantastic.
But
All right. People get out of this with some movie recommendations too. We're gonna need some shit to watch, Pat, after Game of Thrones is done. Now we gotta refill their list here.
Well, do you have a take? Because I know Tim's on the corner of No Country for Old Men. I'm on the There Will Be Blood corner. Do you have a casting vote in this? Because it feels like those really boil down to the two best movies.
They're both fantastic. If you haven't seen either, you have to see both. I'm probably gonna go No Country.
I think that
but it's not by a lot.
It seems like
it's not by a lot.
Do.
How does it feel, Pat, to be on a podcast with me where you're being marooned at every point?
I don't take it the same way that you do. You think that if someone says that something isn't the best ever, you get all offended by it. I agree that they're probably the two best. I think that it's by far and away There Will Be Blood. But as even people put into my mentions, even after you tweeted this, I was like, There Will Be Blood is the most boring movie of all time. Like, if you think that
I don't agree with that at all. It's a great. I do feel like there's spots that kind of dragged a tiny bit, but no, they're both I don't even know. I haven't put enough thought into this to say if they're my top two, but those two movies would be in my top 5 or 6 probably.
The book for No Country for Old Men is also fantastic by Cormac McCarthy. If I kind of like his book, so maybe I'm biased towards him, but I really like that book.
I just think that There Will Be Blood is going to be one of those movies where we look back in like 25 years and it's only going to continue almost the way that like Citizen Kane is talked about as like the best movie of all time. And that's not so much because the story of Citizen Kane is great, or even Orson Welles in Citizen Kane is great. There's so many things in that movie, almost to your Avatar point, where that basically created modern filmmaking, and that's why it always gets so much hype. It feels like There Will Be Blood is a story that's very much told in exactly the same way. You have one of the best performances in a movie of all time. It probably has the best soundtrack of any movie of all time, and it is just beautiful to look at. Every scene in that movie where people are getting mad that there's a water bottle in a scene of Game of Thrones, yeah, that shit's not happening in There Will Be Blood. Like, it feel like even the construction they did of the train going into the city, like, it feels like you're in 1912. It's crazy.
I loved it. Yeah, I mean, listen,
I'm not going to say a bad word about the movie.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Fantastic. I just think No Country is working does a lot of that, but it was also working on sort of a high level, sort of philosophical plane too, which I personally find very rewarding. But I would quibble with the best soundtrack. I think Social Network soundtrack is the best soundtrack to a movie. I think it's the most perfectly matched sound.
I don't know. The scene where the oil derricks explodes, there's a like 5-minute long tracking shot of Daniel Day-Lewis running up, getting the kid, and running back, and just the incremental increase of the score. Like the score to There Will Be Blood is a horror movie score, and it's just incredible.
I won't react to scores. I'll let you guys take control of that. I think 8 Mile had the best soundtrack.
It has the one song you remember.
Yeah, I'm a fucking big Eminem fan.
But yeah, that was
my favorite soundtrack.
Earlier about Avatar, people think it's such a great movie. It made all this money. Ask somebody to quote 2 lines of dialogue from that movie. Let's see what kind of staying power it had.
Fuck, Hotel Rwanda is more quotable because you can just be like Don Cheadle and say, "Get these men some beers."
This is my point. Avatar actually just fell completely flat because no one remembers anything from it in terms of dialogue. And
it's a movie that you're not looking at to try. Like, there's certain movies you watch for dialogue. No, there's movies you watch for dialogue, and there's movies you watch that you're just like, oh, this is entertaining, where I could dumb down a little bit and I don't need to focus on. So I know you guys don't really do that often. I do, because I'm a fucking gorilla. So Avatar is one of my favorite movies that if I'm sitting there on a Saturday and it's just starting and I got some shit to do and I'm hungover, it's like, fuck it. Yeah, this works, dude. See, it holds up.
That's when I want to turn on The Departed. That's when I want to turn on Inception. I think those are just great movies to have on because you've seen like all of them for a bit, but at the same time, like, you know what's coming, you know when the good spots are, you can pay attention to those parts. Like, I would so much rather put on that movie than fucking Avatar. Like, you talk about Avatar like it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's not.
Yeah,
The Social Network might actually be my number 1 all time.
It's very close. See,
it's great.
If people haven't seen Mulholland Drive, and I assume that many of the people doing the show like do drugs a lot, go watch Mulholland Drive. It's for you, and it makes
my half of the people definitely do.
It depends on which drugs you like doing. If you're all hopped up on a bunch of blow, probably not. If you like taking like some mushrooms, you're gonna want to watch Mulholland Drive.
I'm still surprised you didn't have Gravity on here, considering its technical achievements. Might be some of the most impressive filmmaking ever.
It is, but I felt like there's really no story to it. Like, if you want to talk about,
it's one of the worst movies of all time.
No, hold on. If you're gonna say that Avatar is an achievement for like what it did for like the technical ability of film, Gravity is like leaps and bounds above that.
Gravity, you could have got a chimpanzee to write the fucking story on that. Like, that movie was horrific.
So it and Avatar had that in common.
I mean, I wouldn't compare it to Avatar because Avatar I saw fucking 7 years earlier, and it was kind of like, oh wow, this is cool. They're doing shit that I haven't seen. This is kind of like a cartoon and real life and all. Like, it was kind of merging worlds and stuff. And I thought that Gravity is just like, dude, you got 6, 7. You better destroy Avatar if you're doing that. Like, Gravity was just a fucking snore fest from start to finish. It was cool graphically, it was cool, but I mean, fuck, the dialogue was dog shit.
Yes, and so was Avatar.
Like,
so I don't get what your difference.
True, but Avatar was first. That's why I said you got to give credit to kind of being that outrageous kind of visually stimulating show before.
But it's not visually, like, it's visually stimulating the fact that, hey, James Cameron came up with this 3D idea with, like, hey, I can make computer effects that make, like,
and it was fucking cool.
Fake spaceships look kind of real. At least with Gravity, like, they're in outer space. It looks like they're in fucking outer space. Like, that's, I mean, I know you think the Earth is flat and outer space doesn't exist, but, you know, for the rest of us.
But, you know, James Cameron,
one of the few conspiracies I don't think.
James Cameron went to the Titanic, okay? So he's like a method director.
Method director.
I can't stand James Cameron. I'm sorry, I just can't. I will never see another one of his movies, ever. I won't give him a dime.
I can't believe you don't like True Lies. That blows my mind.
No,
that's another movie that you just fucking turn it on and enjoy.
I'm biased because I despise James Cameron so much. I'm sorry. I can't get over it.
You guys saw Schwarzenegger get drop kicked the other day?
I did.
I read about it.
Since we're on the True Lies topic, yeah. The unfortunate thing for Schwarzenegger was he actually got drop kicked. I think, where was he? Africa or something? I don't remember where he was.
Yeah, he was in South Africa.
But yeah, some dude just ran up from behind him and drop kicked him as he was taking a picture with some lady.
He still doesn't have a security detail. I figured,
dude, you got to fire everyone there. Like, there was a couple meetings.
Usually have security detail.
No, there was. There just wasn't. They weren't good at their job. Like, there was a bunch of guys there who were dressed like regular people. But the funny thing is, if you see, it looks like he got his ass kicked when you see it from the one angle facing Schwarzenegger. When there's another camera view from behind him, bro, he didn't move an inch. The dude drop kicked him. He went up half a step and then turned around like a fly just hit him. So all of you out there bashing Schwarzenegger saying he got his ass kicked, first of all, it was a cheap shot. Second of all, he didn't budge. Go find the other camera angle. So props to the fucking Schwartz.
He's also fucking 71 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people are like, oh, Schwarzenegger got fucked up. Like, he's 71 and he got hit from behind. Like, why are you trolling him? Like, I'll hit you from fucking behind. I'll kick your ass, and a tire iron got hit from me from behind, and that fucking hurt.
71-year-old who got assaulted without looking. He's a pussy, though.
And the funniest thing, he didn't move. Like, when you watch the other angle, he literally went up a quarter of a step and turned around like a fly hit him.
Final thing about these movies, I don't know if you've seen it, but people kept mentioning this movie in my comments, and this was not intentionally left off the list, but Drive is one of the worst fucking movies ever made. It's horrible. It has a great 3 minutes at the beginning, and that's all that happens in the movie.
I was going to say the beginning of that movie is very good.
The beginning's great, and then that's it. Nothing happens.
I'm kind of with you.
They could. I mean, they didn't even need to hire Ryan Gosling.
What's funny
they could have had a Ryan Gosling cardboard cutout be in that movie.
I'm actually a big fan of Ryan Gosling, considering that I'm an extreme alpha male.
It doesn't sound like with these takes. It doesn't sound like it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes my movies tend to kind of dribble over into the beta side. But I'm actually I'm a big Ryan Gosling fan.
Good to know.
I actually didn't think The Notebook was terrible.
Oh, sounds like you've been late a few times in The Notebook.
Yeah, Crazy Stupid Love I thought was fantastic for a dumbed down movie. I mean,
doesn't everyone love the Ides of March? That's such a relatable and well told story.
The Nice Guys was interesting.
I love Tim hates. I love The Nice Guys.
We're not going down this road. I'm not talking about that movie. Let's just move on. That movie is.
He's been in a lot of good or decent movies. You know, Ryan Gosling. Remember The Titans was good. Fracture was interesting.
Fracture was not good. I love the other guys.
It was interesting. That's why I said interesting.
I just love Russell Crowe so much.
The Big Short was great.
Like, I left off Master and Commander and Gladiator. I left off the list. Like, Gladiator, if we're gonna have a discussion about, like, again, like nitpicking movies, go
biting
back and
off.
Just the people in Gladiator wearing like jeans.
Yeah, no, Gladiator's fun. Gladiator's fun, but it's not great.
Yeah,
it's good.
Gladiator's good. It's another one of those movies. Chuck it on. It's like you're hungover. It's 11 a.m. on a Saturday. Check on fucking Gladiator and sit back and enjoy yourself.
Gladiator's kind of like Facebook to Braveheart's MySpace. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I can kind of get that. Tim's a big MySpace guy, though. He was very upset when it shut down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can argue that, like, without Braveheart, Gladiator basically bit off Braveheart.
It did, but
very, very
Braveheart
similar.
was first, and it was better.
Right. I think MySpace was better than Facebook. I think Facebook's a shit show. I preferred MySpace. I'm going to Tim on that.
I mean, I actually think Ridley Scott does a better job than Mel Gibson in just about everything he does. So I actually prefer Gladiator to Braveheart.
Really?
Okay, so I'm with Pat. So let's.
If for no other reason than I think Joaquin Phoenix's villain is a believable villain, whereas Longshanks in, as with most Mel Gibson stuff, he just makes the British look terrible. So Longshanks in Braveheart is just completely a caricature and an unbelievable villain, defenestrating people, and I don't buy him. Whereas I think Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus is like one of the better.
He did crush that role.
Portrayals
He crushed that. Both great movies.
So,
but everyone's already seen
see,
those.
there you go. If you take the British out of Apocalypto, boom, you have a great movie.
That's right. There's no one from Mel Gibson to bash in Apocalypto. So, it doesn't play to his various prejudices.
I would say is when people start commenting about like what are the best movies, like people are giving out like their favorite movies, and I don't know, like if we're talking about like it, because the question was what is the best of the millennium? There may be just like random movies that you like. Like I was thinking about like Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down is an awesome movie. It's nowhere near one of the best movies of the millennium. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, my goodness, no.
But it's a great movie.
Not even close.
But like it's a movie you throw on. It's a great war movie. And that has a
very good.
That has a
good movie.
sneaky star-studded cast too. Like it started like Josh Hartnett's big in it, but you have like Ewan McGregor, Tom Sizemore, Eric Bana, William Fincher's in it, Sam Shepard's in it. Like you go down that list, and it's just a lot of people that became bigger than they were at the time too. And you hadn't really seen a movie like that until it came out.
I was just floored in looking back at it, at how many amazing movies came out from like 98 to 2001, like in that one period, compared to how many movies have come out in the last 5-10 years. And you said it's probably TV and stuff like that. But
TV has taken away all the good
but
talent.
wow, I mean, there's just fucking nothing now compared to what, I mean, we had Matrix, Lebowski, Fight Club, American Beauty, Memento, Gladiator, Mulholland, Requiem, Shrek, Lord of the Rings, American Psycho, Sixth Sense, Saving Private Ryan. Like all these were out in like a 2-year period.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Well, the big thing to look at it too is one of the main reasons that a lot of these movies went away is because they don't make movies for that amount of money anymore. Like you don't see the $40 million to $60 million movie, and a lot of those movies are that movie. So either those movies are like Netflix shows now or HBO shows, or you get a movie that costs $20,000 to make or $300 billion to make. Like there's no in between movie anymore. We lost we lost all of that to TV.
Do you think it's partially because I see it a little bit chicken and the egg, right? Like, is it because a lot of shitty movies were coming out in like the mid 2000s that caused everyone to go to TV, or is it the other way around where everyone went to TV and that's why shitty movies started coming?
No, it started like that because the creative control that you got to lure people to TV in the first place is not the same way that you would work through the studio system. So like there are certain directors that get carte blanche to do what they want, but they're very few. Like P.T. Anderson and Wes Anderson are two that can make whatever fucking movie they want because that's part of the deal with them signing up. They get final cut. They're going to write it. They're going to direct it. They're going to cast it. It's going to be their vision. Most people have to work underneath the studio system, especially now because these movies make so much money. Like the Marvel movies, like you can be fired at a moment's notice if you don't do, or if they don't even like what you're doing at the studio, you will be replaced because the investment is so large. To lure like the auteurs and the people who make really good movies over to the TV side and like streaming TV, what I'm talking about. They're not making like 2.5 Men, but like even getting David Fincher over on Netflix to make like Mastermind. It's like, hey, you can do the first 2 episodes of this. And he did the first 2 episodes of House of Cards too. Like we have this cool story. You can shape this show.
It's kind of what changed the game. Yeah.
Any way that you want, and you'll get paid millions for it. And you can do whatever you want. And then you can just leave whenever you want to. No big deal.
It was taboo for a while too for any actors to do TV. That was another part of the problem.
And that's gone.
All right, let's wrap up the movie talk with our number one answer. You have to give your number one answer. I know there's a million. We've been tap dancing around it. Gun to your head. Number one best movie from 2000 on.
There Will Be Blood, not close.
Well, it is close. No Country for Old Men, but it is close.
I will jump ship and go Social Network. I'm going to go a little more lay than you two there, so we can get all 3. So if you haven't seen any of those 3 movies, make sure you go see it.
We're giving up the hot pick, the sleeper picks on the No Mercy Pat Mayo Experience crossover.
Yeah.
All right, Patty, any final words, brother?
Now, I would just like to thank Tim Undergust.
Tim Andergust.
That is not my name, but it was a pleasure to participate in this conversation, gents. I actually had a lot of fun.
This was a good time. Follow Pat on Twitter at the PME. Follow Tim Anderson on Twitter at Tim Anderson 87.
Not a real
Did
person.
you have is there a Tim Andercuss troll account?
No, there's a Tim Andercuss verified real account. The other one you
They are
talked about
not
is the troll
verified.
account.
None of them are verified. I should be verified. This is why I should be verified.
So
Because there are a million troll accounts of me, and for people to know the real account of me, I should be verified.
Yeah, but you can't run the other ones if you want to be verified on your own. That's the problem.
Don't run any other accounts. This is all just a drive-by smear of me.
So, Tommy, one of my friends and I one day took the other Tim Andercuss account and we photoshopped a blue check mark onto a screenshot of it and sent it to Tim and said that account got verified, and boy was he triggered.
Did he go fucking crazy?
And we told him that he couldn't see it because the account was actually him, and then he was all freaking out.
I was texting Gary and asking him to look for me.
Oh God. Well, let's see if we can get Tim Anderson 87 up to what's your next goal? I know you have little follower goals here, Tim. Is it 7,300? Is it 8,000? I think you're a little far off from 10K to make that the next goal.
Yeah,
right?
that honestly, whatever at this point, whatever happens. 8 would be nice, 10 would be nice, but I would trade it all for a blue check mark.
I can't believe MLB Model has more followers than Tim. Listen, I love MLB Model as much as the next person, but he does not.
It is shocking.
He does not bring the heat on Twitter like Tim does.
It is shocking. It is absolutely shocking. So, Tim, would you rather have 10 followers and a blue check mark or 20,000 followers and no check mark?
Oh, I want the blue check mark. Although, unfortunately, people won't be able to see things.
You wouldn't
like
have anyone to talk
they
to.
won't see my banana rankings, for example, if I only had
Oh my God.
10 followers. That's true.
Well, you need Pat. You need to get Pat on the payroll to retweet all your stuff to
That's
then
true.
accelerate it. But Tim Anderson 87 on Twitter, at the PME on Twitter. I am at Tommy G on Twitter. Guys, thank you for coming on. A lot of fun. Check out the Pat Mayo Experience on iTunes, all over social media. Go to Pat's Twitter. You'll see links for fucking YouTube videos. You name it, you got it. Subscribe, download, review. Check out the No Mercy podcast on iTunes. Subscribe, download, review, and then you can check out Elite Fantasy. You could find Pat on DraftKings, and you could find Tim just saying weird shit all over Twitter. So for Tim and Pat, I am Tommy G. Good luck. Stay cashing, motherfuckers.
Batman experience! Experience!